guys, just making some stuff. We don't have any orders tonight, but I thought since last night went so well with showing you guys how to make stuff, I thought it would be pretty cool to make some more stuff with you guys so you can see more behind the scenes of what goes on, but all the fun stuff, no boring stuff like paperwork, fortunately. Now what I'm doing today is my wonderful friend Carlisha has asked me to make a matching scrunchie with a bow that she's going to get. Sorry, a matching bow with the scrunchie she wants to get. So I'm making these little ones for her dog. I made this one a little bit too big. It was my first go. I haven't made bows in a few years. So it was a good first try. And then this is more the size that she's after because it is a puppy. So that one's just going to go onto the dog's collar. And it's got this little extra bit. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get it onto the collar. So I've got some Velcro here. She's got other bows, so I thought, I'll ask her what they use on them. Velcro. So I'm going to try it out. I do have snap fasteners as well somewhere. It's a bit of a mess. I try to be organised, but sometimes it doesn't quite work out. And I don't really know how big the collar is. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to grab more fabric, which I don't even know where I've put it because I was in such a rush earlier today. Everything's everywhere. I probably should have organised before doing a live, but this is what happens when you have kids. You lose your memory so easily. I think I've completely misplaced it somewhere. That's alright. I can use a different one. So I've got some orders here as well that are going out. Here, that's my little order tray. So if you want to place your orders online, I can show you how we make them. Some of the stuff isn't made yet, so I actually have to make it handmade and show you guys, and pack the orders, of course. I've got more Velcro. Luckily, I was gifted Velcro from someone. I have so much Velcro now, it's crazy. I never would have bought it on my own. No, I'm completely frazzled. I do not know where I put it in the fabric. Here it is. Misplaced, right where I thought I'd misplace it. If you guys want to see me make anything, let me know. I would love to show you. I have a Cricut machine, a sewing machine, make scrunchies and reusable wipes, makeup wipes, all those things. This is the fabric that she chose, so we've got the scrunchies on our website. She wants a matching bow for her puppy. Here's the end of this. So my kids are just gone down to bed. That's why I thought, I'll just come pop on. Usually it's a Wednesday night thing, but I thought I'd come on tonight. Tread the waters, go a bit out of my comfort zone. So if you guys have any questions as well about sewing and Cricut, just ask me. I'd love to answer them. Although, it's every time. When I'm not on camera, it's fine. As soon as I'm on camera, everything's a disaster. So it's a big piece of fabric. I can't find the end that I cut from, but that's alright. I'll just start a new one. So this one's like a rayon kind of fabric. It's very light. I was originally going to make a sundress out of this. But I grabbed the wrong size pattern because I didn't realise when I was starting that you can get them in different sizes. So what I need is I need to extend this little thingy here to put some Velcro on. I'm just thinking, how on earth am I going to do that? But that's alright, that's part of the journey. When you've got a creative mind, they just come into your mind a bit. Got my sewing machine here. I did hand stitch the last little bit of it. So it's properly handmade. And I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, but that's cool. Because it's learning. I'm just cutting the end bit here because the end bit of the fabric's got some holes in it. And I'd hate for her to have holes in a pretty little bow for her dog. So I'm just cutting this. I do have measuring tape and a ruler and stuff, but that looks perfect to me. So we're just going to add that to the back of the bow as like a bit of an extension of what's already on there. just to make sure that it is big enough for the dog's collar, and the dog will grow as well, and that's when they're going to need this bigger one. So there's this one I did without instructions. This one I cheated a little bit. I had to go online because it's been so long since I made bows for dogs, and I had to look up how to make it again. So that's one. That's the one that she's going to be getting. She's going to get both because it was a test try. So if you have any custom orders you want me to make, let me know. I love custom orders because it means I get to learn things and try things out, and most of the time you'll get the freebies, like the parts that I've stuffed up but are still usable. Just because I will have no use for it if it's just for them. So we're going to extend this. I'm just having a look at it, how big. It's actually the perfect size for it. So I must have, wow, that was really good measuring of me. So I've got my brown thread. I just use normal cotton thread that you get from Spotlight. I think these ones are the Birch brand. Baby bows. Well, that's the thing. I wasn't even making these bows, but my friend messaged me and asked me to make them. So if you send me a message, let me know, and I can make stuff for you, because honestly, I've picked up a bit of a habit of this one, but I love making new things, and hopefully I'll start making bows. I've got babies, baby boys, so they don't really wear the bows, but they are so cute, and they model them for me with their big buffer heads. Oh, I love the Harry Potter ones too. They're so popular. My husband's a bit of a Harry Potter fan, and that's what inspired me to buy the fabric and make stuff. So with my sister, she's obsessed, which is great. I just haven't had the time to sit down with being a mum and stuff and constantly making stuff. So the Harry Potter ones I have are, let me have a look, bring this back over here. So I've only made them into scrunchies, but you can have them anything on our website. We do pouches and makeup wipes and stuff. So if you want it in that design, just let me know and I can make a custom one for you. But we do this one, and it's got just little items here and there. I don't know all the words to all the things. My husband does. He's probably a better one to ask. But this is one that we do in the scrunchie. And then we also do a pink one, which I love. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it, but I didn't have the money to get it. But then I got the money and I bought it straight away. So this is my scrunchie belts. These ones are half sewn because I'm getting labels in pretty soon. So I didn't sew them, but if people buy them, I can just quickly sew them, which is really good. But I like to have them on this until I get the labels, just in case no one buys them, and then I can add them. But this one's the pink one. It's got the owl again, sorry I don't know the name, but it's got some letters. I know about the letter to Hogwarts, that's probably about it. And the owl there, sorry. That one. Those are the Harry Potter ones that we have. We do have other nerdy ones. We've got like mermaid ones, we got floral ones, Pooh Bear ones. There's so many on here. Cherry ones. We got like this dance fabric stuff as well, mermaidy ones, which is really nice. And you got more like suede style scrunchies. You got the rayon one, so this is the bow that I'm making to match this scrunchie. Yeah, it's honestly, we've got dinosaur ones as well. That was a much requested one from a few of my friends that are regular customers as well. And got florals, just to help with the changing of seasons soon. I thought, oh, it might be good to put some floral ones in there. I hope that stays there. And we got these other ones as well. So you got like the Frida Kahlo one and more mermaidy ones, and this bee scrunchie as well. This one, I sold so many of them about 2 years ago. I kept selling out because they were so popular. This is like pre-pandemic as well. I should have kept going through the pandemic because small businesses really thrived then. And now we're feeling a bit of the downfall, but I've started back up again. So this one's the Honey to the Bee one, and it's actually got silver glitter on the wings, which I think is really cool. And it sparkles in the sun. It's bright. It's really good for summer or, again, changing of seasons. And that's one of my favourite ones. And a lot of my friends have actually purchased that one to add to their collections too. Oh, I got a spare Harry Potter one. I'll put that one back in there. So, with this bow, I do talk a lot and I apologise if I'm just rambling on. I thought I'd just come on here tonight because yesterday a lot of people were asking questions about sewing and fabrics and all these other things and small business questions, and I think it's really important to, you know, talk to people about these things and have a conversation, make new friends. I'm super shy in person, so this is where I really thrive, is making new friends on social media. So we're just going to add this as a bit of an extension to it. So we're just going to fold that, and we're going to sew it on there as well. Usually I would use hot glue, but because it's rayon fabric, and my hot glue gun is hidden somewhere away from the kids, and now I've actually forgotten where I put it. You watch, I'll probably find it tomorrow night and make a live all about how I found my heat gun. I don't know about you guys, but I go through all different crafts constantly going through different crafts. Like I've got resin stuff, I've got Cricut stuff, I've got sewing stuff. I just got gifted yarn as well for crocheting, and I haven't actually started crocheting yet, so that's really cool. So, oh, super delicate work. You'd think that because of having glasses I'd be able to see really well, but that is not the case. Still blind as a bat. Plus this is matching the same colour as my desk. I'm not too sure if you can see, but my desk is black and this thread I'm using is brown, so it does make it a little bit hard. And this needle is a bit too big. I just grabbed whatever needle I could, whatever I saw. And I'm going to need to hand stitch the Velcro to it as well, just because I don't want to use the sewing machine on it in case it buggers it up. Especially because I'm new to working with Velcro actually. So I've worked with snap pins, now it's time for Velcro. And I think people are usually the other way. They work with Velcro and then snap pins. I'm a bit backwards like that. So, sorry, I'm just getting messages through Messenger there. My sister's loving the gifts I got her for her birthday. That's awesome. So, I'm just going to tie this one off now and show you guys what it looks like in a second. These ring lights do really well, but my goodness, my house light, I need to change the bulb or something in it. Because I think it's like a bedroom, one of those soft bedroom lights, and it's really hard to see when you're trying to craft and make stuff. Need one of those big LED ones. Alright, so that one's tied off. So hand sewing, it's pretty easy. I've had a few people ask me in my live videos about it. Might have to make a live about it again. So we just made an extension of that. So this is so that we can attach some Velcro to it. So she can wrap it around her dog's collar. So she has a nice little pretty bow. And I'm going to have to sew the other side as well. And I think the Velcro I have is about double the width of this. So we're going to have to figure out how to cut that down. But all a learning experience. I love learning. I think most of the time I'm on YouTube or Googling how to DIY things. And that's how my little business came along, was me being obsessed with Google. So just tie that one up at the end. It's really important to tie up the end so it doesn't pull through the fabric and then undo everything. So I'm just going to fold this. I've got some music playing as well. Sorry if that's... Let me know if that's too loud as well, guys, the volume on that. I've just got it on to drown out my voice, so my boys don't wake up, because usually they hear my voice and they wake up. Which if you're a mum, you'd know about it, because oh, I didn't my boys are very in tune with what I'm doing, whether they're asleep or awake. There it is. So we're just sewing up the end of this one. My goodness. My eyes are playing tricks on me at the moment. I don't think I tied that up enough. I'm more of a sewing machine girl, just because my eyesight is really bad at the moment. And for some reason at night time, my eyes are probably worse. Okay, let's try this again. And that's the thing when you're a small business as well. There's lots of learning to be done. Lots of stuff ups, lots of learning. And I love seeing people's videos when they're learning things as well, because I think it's so important that we show everyone that, you know, it's a learning experience to get where you get. So it's really important to support each other. Alright, let's see if I got that right. There we go. I don't think we're going to have any orders tonight. I usually get them on my Wednesday packing TikToks. That's when the orders come through. That's why I'm trying to make more TikToks, so that people don't think I'm just once a week. It's every day. I pack orders every day. And the lives are just to show you guys all about it. I make videos of all the orders, so even if I don't make a live, it's all recorded. I've recorded this other one that I made, the other bow, Kalisha, to see how it's made. Hello, if you're just joining, I'm just making a dog bow for my friend. She wants a matching scrunchie with a dog bow, and I'm just seeing if I can even do it, because it's been so long since I made a bow, let alone a bow for a dog collar. So I'm just sewing the end of this, and then we're going to attach some Velcro to it, which is going to be quite the learning experience, I think. It did say that it was sewable, so I'll have to read the packet, because like I said before, I'm not a big Velcro person. I'm a bit of a snap pin person. Oh, well, that's attached really well. So if you place any orders on our website tonight, I'll make it on our live as well, and you can see how it's all made. Most of the stuff is handmade, and I can make it on camera. Some stuff's handmade, but I've already made it, and some stuff I get from suppliers. It will usually say if it's handmade or not in the description of the item on our website. So if you check out my bio, it's on there. I'm just trimming all these loose ends. Make it all pretty. Because there's nothing worse than getting something and it's not quite good for the eyes to look at. So we've got this now. This little extension part. Now I can actually see that it's opening up on the inside in here, so we're going to do a little bit of sewing along there. I might use my sewing machine. Sorry, I've got coffee coming back up. Put that in there. I'll move that over. I'll have some more of this. But I hope you guys are all keeping well as well. Tax time's coming up. So that tax money should be good. We just started our business in May up again, so, and I've never done a tax for a small business, so we're not really looking forward to it, but I've got to figure it out. So if you're a small business and have any pointers, let me know, because I've been reading the ATO website all day. So there's no new orders yet, but that's alright, we'll still make this bow. I wasn't expecting any tonight, so that's fine. So we're just going to sew this up. Let me just check this Velcro packaging because I want to make sure that I sew it properly. So you can actually sew this by machine or by hand. If you guys have any pointers with Velcro on sewing machines, let me know. This is my first time doing it and I can't believe I'm doing it on live. So if I stuff up, please go easy on me. So cut tape to length, place hook and eye. So these are the hooks and the eyes. Got to figure out. So I might have one on there and then, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Don't mind me just doing my math in my head. I do that a lot. I'm a big math person. I just sit there and I have that resting bitch face, but it's not me trying to be bitchy. It's just my face when I'm thinking. So probably get me in a few fights, but that's all right. So I'm just having a look here. We might be able, see, oh, we can make a bit of a loop and my thumb and my finger fit through there. So I'm thinking from the photos you show me of the collar, I think that would be perfect. So I'm just going to zigzag stitch this one. So for zigzag, we're going to swap it to number 3 on my machine. I'm just going to adjust it as well. So I use a Brothers sewing machine. Was on clearance at Maya. So it's a little bit broken, a little bit squeaky, but it does the job. Everyone knows when you start with a small business, you don't have to have all the big expensive machines. It's just the machines that work, and you know, you just work with it. It's like having a car when you're on your P plates. So we'll just stitch this down. So I'm just stitching that together. Beautiful. And we're using a brown thread as well, just so it blends with it. It looks a bit nicer. Because there's nothing worse than, I mean, some things look really great with the bright stitches and some things look really great when they're blended. So it just depends on the person, the item, and what kind of style you're going for as well. But I get a little bit anal about it. It has to match, the thread has to match. And if it doesn't, then that's it, trip to Spotlight. Any excuse to go to Spotlight. So we've just zigzag stitched it. It kind of makes it a little bit stronger as well because rayon's quite a thin fabric. So that looks a bit better. You can see it's all flat now. And because it is rayon, I actually did use iron-on interfacing just to make it that little bit stronger. The thread's sticking out everywhere at the moment. So with the rayon, iron-on interfacing, you can get sew-on interfacing as well, but I used iron-on just because it's a lot easier for me. I find that the sew-on interfacing does move a lot, and that's not what you want when you're sewing stuff, because only half of it will have interfacing and the other half won't. So let me have a look at this. So we're going to put some here. This one's going to have to be hand stitched, or else it's going to go all the way through the bow. Well, not all the way because the bow is very thick. My sewing machine won't make it. So this one's going to be hand sewn. I'm going to have to use a black thread to match the black. That's just me. And then on this flip side, we're going to have the eye piece or the hook piece. And that's going to go on there so that you can just fit a collar through it and it's easy to pull off as well. It's a learning experience. I would have used snaps, but you got to learn somewhere with things that you're not really comfortable with. So, and I can't believe I'm doing it on live as well. Just going to get the thread. And I've got my needle somewhere here. It's kind of blended. I am using the Cricut tonight as well, so you guys will be able to see how the Cricut works, which I think is really important if you're looking at buying one, especially for your small business. I think it's really important you see how other people use it, how it works, what you need, all the cheats and stuff, how to save money, which I think is super important, because then you can sell things for cheaper, or you can sell them for the same price. and just get that little bit extra profit. I prefer to sell a little bit cheaper to people because this day and age everything's a little bit expensive, but you do you. I have lost my needle. That's right, I put it back because it was too big. There's nothing worse than working with a needle that's too big. I don't know how many times I've poked my hands today, my fingers, from this needle. So I'm going to use a smaller one. There's a thumble in there too. I should probably use that, but that's all good. So we're just going to use like a, it's not a small needle, it's more like a medium size. It's not oversized that it's going to be, you know, hard to control. It's just a medium size, just a good size. So we're going to get some of this. I always like cutting off too much because it's better to have too much than not enough. And this one's going to be hard to see because it does match the colour of my desk. So it's going to be harder to see than the brown is. That's alright. So we're just going to tie off the tail. And that just stops the thread going all the way through the fabric. Because then it won't, it doesn't stick. I don't know if that's the proper word for it. But I find that it just doesn't stick. So I like tying it off at the end. Some people don't have to tie it off at the end. They just don't pull it all the way through. But sometimes I accidentally do. And it's just frustrating to keep going back over it. So I prefer to be safe and tie a knot up at the end. And it's really hard when you tie up knots because they've all got to be on top of each other. So it's harder. There we go, for it to go through. You just get the other end. Now, I do have a needle threader here somewhere. But I'm going to try and do it myself. Just give it a little lick so it's firm. There's actually a little bit of thread. I don't know if you guys can see it, probably not. But there's just a little bit of extra fuzzy thread on there and we just cut it off. So, come on. It's there but it doesn't want to go through. It's super annoying. There we go. So usually we schedule TikToks for Wednesdays, but after everyone asking me questions yesterday about what I make and how I make things, I thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to make some more stuff today. I may as well go on live, but it would be really good if I stopped misplacing stuff. Misplaced the Velcro bit. I'll probably find it later knowing my luck. I'll find it just as I'm going to bed. Signing off. Okay, so I do also have the Cricut machine here too. I'm going to show you guys some other cool stuff. No, that's tape. Just seeing if I've dropped it on the floor. Sometimes that happens. No, that's alright. We'll just cut off a little bit more. So we're just cutting up some Velcro for a bow. And that's the other part of it. We want these to match in size, so I'm just going to hook it onto there and then cut it. There we go. Now, so I don't lose one, I'm just going to put it on my white sewing machine so I can actually see it. Okay, so this is the bow and the little extra bit. So we're just going to hand sew one piece onto there of Velcro. Oh, it's going to be tough. I feel it, my needle's not liking it. That's alright though. It doesn't need to be all the layers, it can just be one layer as long as it's sticking on there. Cool. So those knots at the end really help me know where my safe zone is, where to stop pulling. If you guys have any Cricut or sewing questions, let me know. I'd love to answer them. Because sewing, I love sewing. I'm still learning, but I'll answer what I can. And that's the joy. We can all learn from each other. Beautiful. So we're just attaching it to that long piece of fabric. of the bow right at the top, at the bow part. Sorry, just concentrating. So we're just sewing the Velcro onto here. And it's been a little bit stubborn. This is my first time working with Velcro too, so I expect to make a few mistakes. It's all part of the learning experience, guys. There we go. Just going to make sure that it's pulled taut. I would usually use hot glue, but like I said before, my hot glue gun is hidden away from my kids and I've misplaced it somewhere. So that's the joys of being a parent. You try and hide stuff from your kids and you end up forgetting where it is. Okay, not bad, not bad. If you guys have any suggestions of working and sewing Velcro, I would love them. Saves me having to Google them later on. There we go. Just pull that nice and taut. Now it's being stubborn. There we go. So see there, you can kind of see that the Velcro is on there. You can't see it from the front either. So that's what you want. You want it to be like an invisible Velcro, I suppose you'd say. Sorry if I'm not really making sense, guys. I am tired of watching Tired Long Day. And I've got 2 little boys. So if you guys have little kids and you have a small business, let me know. I'd love to know how many of us are out there. Because this stuff is hard. Like, insanely hard. So it looks like it's almost done. I just got to sew a little bit more. If you guys do any craft, let me know in the comments as well. I'd love to know what everyone's making and creating, or what your little small business is, or what you'd like to do just as a hobby as well. I think it all starts off as a little bit of a hobby, turns into a bit of a side gig, and then a main gig. So let me know. I'd love to know what you guys are all making. See if any orders have come through, just because I don't want to accidentally miss them. Got a very small desk, so got my sewing machine, my Cricut and my laptop all on here, and I'm trying to sew at the same time, so it's very small. So I can't wait till I start making more orders and get a bigger desk. My main goal is to get a warehouse, hopefully, and just making a warehouse. I think that's my dream. It sounds a bit weird, but it's quirky. Have a warehouse where you have an office and can sell stuff from on the internet. We haven't done any markets yet, but we're thinking about doing them soon. But there's a lot of stuff to it. There's a lot of like, you've got to have an FPOS machine, you've got to have insurance. Some places do insurance with them and you just pay them to be under their insurance, and some you do need your own insurance. So if you have any tips and pointers on markets as well, let me know, guys, because I would love it. So just reading the comments. We do have lots of stuff on our website, lots of different stuff, handmade stuff, stuff bought from suppliers, so check it out. There's a little something for everyone. We've got scrunchies, we've got reusable wipes, got everything. Okay, so this thread has decided to go along the outside of the bow. I'm just going to use the tip of my needle to get that back out. And if you guys are just starting off sewing, let me know as well. I'd love to share some of my wisdom with you and what I do know, because I don't know a lot, but I know enough how to do it and make money from it. So, and I think that's all you need in the end. You don't need certificates and stuff, you just need to know what you're doing. So I'm just tying off the end of this so that the thread doesn't come undone. So that's all tied up. Cool. So you just cut the threads, make it all pretty. So you can't see it from the front. Ooh, looks like a normal bow with an extra tail, but on this side there's a bit of Velcro on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the Velcro, we're going to put some Velcro on the outside of this one so that it turns in like that. And it's sort of adjustable. You can have it bigger, you can have it smaller, which is really important with dog collars as well, just because I don't know how big her dog collar is, but from the looks of the photo it looked a bit like a medium one. And I have a dog, so I know what dog collars look like. So we're going to attach it to the outside of the bow. Now this one, I do believe I can use my machine because there's not a whole lot of fabric between, like there's no bow like the other side was. So we're going to get the machine once I get all this thread out of the way. And you're going to want a zigzag stitch. That's all I know about Velcro is it's important to zigzag stitch. But if you guys have any other pointers, let me know. I'd love to hear how you guys make your stuff. Save me making a lot of mistakes. I love learning, hearing you guys' stories as well. So we're just going to zigzag stitch. Going to make my zigzag a bit smaller, or a bit skinnier I should say, so it doesn't come off it. My machine is very old, so forgive me if it's making clunking noises. Yeah, there we go. So it's been stubborn. Worked great last night when I was using it on the live, but tonight it's just not having it. Been a bit out of it all day, which I think we all have. I mean, it's Thursday. Is Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday today. So it's like pre-weekend. Everyone's tired. Everyone just wants the weekend and to sleep. And my sewing machine is definitely feeling it today. Yesterday it was fine. Okay, let's try this again. So it just kind of bunched it up at the top. I think that's because there's extra fabric there, and my machine is very fussy with how much fabric it allows to go through. So let's try that again. And it is Velcro as well, so it's a bit of a thick one. Okay, so it is going through, but it is moving the Velcro. So we'll just adjust that, put the foot back down, and try again. Don't give up as well. You may get frustrated, have a breather, but don't give up. So let's try. Get a bit of a bigger zigzag. There we go. Beautiful. And there's no such thing as failing either, guys. It's only new creations that you make. That's the wise words of my grandma. But that was about cooking, not sewing. But I'm going to use it here in sewing because I think it's super important that people know that it's just new creations you're making, learning, and just start again if you want. Leave things as they are. Just do you. Alright, so it did bunch up quite a bit here, so I'm just trying to cut it because my machine was having a bit of a hissy fit. It's a bit dramatic tonight. I'm just glad that my Cricut machine wasn't playing up. Is there anyone else crafting tonight? I saw there was quite a few lives on of people crafting. And then I thought, hey, you know what? It is actually a pretty good night for crafting on a TikTok live. You guys get to see that behind the scenes, what actually goes into a product. You can see our determination and frustration. So if you guys are making any projects tonight, let me know. Sewing or not sewing, crafting or not crafting, let me know. I love hearing what you guys are up to. So, alright, let's test try this out. So, it's not as strong as I'd like. I think think that's because there's so much thread in the way, which I'll have to trim. So this is for the dog collar to go through here, and that's the bow. Now it's really important that you can't see the Velcro at the top here, because that's where everyone's going to be looking. But it needs to be strong as well, so I'm just test trying it. If you guys want to order stuff on our website, I will make it live on here as well. So just order and I can show you. I did that last night. We usually do it on Wednesdays, but I thought I'd just come on tonight since you guys all liked watching the stuff yesterday of the actual making of stuff, which I think is super important that you know what goes into it. Now I'm just trying to find my unpicker, which should be here somewhere. Doesn't look like it is. I did have it before, but I do have kids and they do like to wander into here. So, there it is. It's hiding. You gotta hide a lot of stuff when you have kids. All the sharp stuff. So this is my little tiny unpicker. I think I got this in a value pack with something else, like a measuring tape or something. Just because I needed a measuring tape and this came with it. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually a great idea. And if you know me, I love a good deal. Although I could probably use a bigger unpicker. So what's everyone doing tonight as well? Because it's Thursday night, late night trading. Is anyone going to Spotlight, fabric stores? Because I have a feeling I should be at Spotlight right now, but I have nothing to buy, so that's why I'm not at Spotlight. Because we would be completely broke all the time. So I'm just unpicking some of this so it sticks a little better, the Velcro. So, it's still just been a little bit stubborn. Like I said, I usually work with snap pins, so if this fails, that's okay. I can just unpick it, put some snap pins on. I'm not used to working with Velcro. I'm much more confident in snap pins, but when someone says Velcro, you've got to try it. Or suggest Velcro, I should say. Okay, just trying to make it all pretty, because appearance is important. So let's see if that sticks a little bit better now. I'm not used to working with these guys, so okay, it's sticking a little bit better, but it's still not the greatest. I might try and re-sew it on. I might do it by hand, just because my machine doesn't know what Velcro is, if you can't have tell. So these unpickers are really cheap too. I get all my stuff from Spotlight, like all my sewing stuff from Spotlight. All my vinyl I get from Rainbow Vinyl Co. in Malaga and Carlisle in Perth. They're really affordable there. They sell things like Metamark, Sizer I think it is, which is the ones that I usually get, the type of vinyl brand. Yeah, it's good to have a little collection of vinyl and fabrics and threads, because you never know what someone's going to message you and say, hey, can you make this? And when you have the stuff for it, it's honestly the best feeling. But I do like going out shopping, so if you guys suggest to make something that I don't have, I will still say yes, because I love a good shopping trip to buy the stuff and learning how to make it as well. So we're just going to make this a little bit prettier. Lots of loose threads here, because my machine doesn't like Velcro. If you guys have a machine that's good with Velcro, please let me know which one it is, because my machine's on its way out and I need a new one. It's starting to do that little squeaky noise. I've oiled it, done everything. I did buy it partially broken, so that's a little bit on me, but you got to start somewhere. Alright, so we're just going to hand stitch that one on instead. Just going to take all the threads off the Velcro piece that we've got here so it actually sticks. And if you know Velcro, it's very hard to get the threads off. Once it's in Velcro, it's usually in there for life. So luckily this is a very small piece of Velcro. So I wonder if it will stick properly without it. Maybe it's just a Velcro. No, it was my threading. Okay, no worries. I thought it was just my threading. It's good to know. So, we've had less orders this week, which is to be expected. Hopefully around Christmas it will pick up. And I'm sure that every other small business out there is feeling a bit of that ache at the moment. I've seen a lot of people on Etsy struggling with their customer intake, or selling products, I should say. We actually just left Etsy. We had a few dramas on there and the fees going up, and they're just not that great. So we chose to get our own website, which is in the bio, but you have to bring your own traffic. That's like the only problem of having a website, is that you have to bring your own traffic. You have to be responsible for the advertising, and it's honestly a full-time job. Now I know why companies have people just in marketing, because it is so full on. You got to be so creative, and if you're already being creative with making stuff, it can be a bit of a blessing and a curse. You can burn yourself out, or it can fuel that and give you more ideas. So it all just depends, not just on the person, but what kind of day it is and stuff. So I'm just seeing if there's any new orders. So we don't have any today. That's fine. We've just started off. We just started up in May, and that was on Etsy. So that was a bit of a change, going to a website. And we make most of our stuff. Some of it is from suppliers. Some of the things we make here in WA, Western Australia. We're located in Perth, which is really good because we can, we're close to everything, ship everywhere. Oh, another store we go to as well is Big Bubble. I don't think a lot of people know about it. Big Bubble is in Midland, or Midvale, I think it is. Basically the same place, just a few kilometres apart. And they have everything. They have stuff to make soaps, candles, crafting, quilting. They've got vinyl there. Some of it is a bit on the pricier side, but some of it is on the cheaper side. Like my zips I get from there for anywhere between $1.50 to $1.70. Whereas if you go to Spotlight, they're just a flat rate of $2, like starting at $2. And if you're buying lots of things in one go, I think it's really important that you research as well. They do have a website, Big Bubble does, but it's not, like they don't have the items on there, which sucks. But when you walk in, it's honestly like every crafter's Christmas dream. And they have beer making stuff too, actually, and baking. They have stuff for key rings, sublimination. They have so much. Honestly, it's amazing what they have there. I think that would be one of my dream jobs, is working there. Even though I'm starting my own business, and this is kind of my dream job, is being the maker, the crafter, the accountant, the social media person. Kind of take on a bit of everything, but it's so cool because you learn so much through it, through doing this, whether you're in a partnership or not. I am in a partnership with my husband. He's more the financial and the emotional support, just because if you have a small business, you need the finances and you need the emotional support as well, because you do question your work a lot, especially if you don't have orders. You're like, oh, is it me? But the truth is, people don't usually buy stuff till Christmas. So, and we're just over halfway through the year, so we've got a bit of time left. But with the changing of seasons as well, everyone's going to want new stuff or certain types of stuff. So it's really important, like, just keep putting yourself out there. Just keep going. Don't give up. Don't question yourself. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. You're on your own journey. I think it's important to just keep going, because most people give up and then you never know how close you were to your goal if you give up. So you just need to keep going. Keep going. Because I gave up just before the pandemic. No, just as the pandemic hit. And I regret it now, because that is when small businesses were really thriving, especially on Etsy. But I stopped because I got pregnant again and got married. So there was that, but I've started up again, and it's an actual business now. It's not a hobby, it's a full-on business. So I'm just going to trim some of these bits of string. Okay, so this is the bow. It's more like a sailor style bow, and we are going to see if this sticks. Yeah, so it sticks a little bit better, but I just noticed that I didn't sew this little bit on the corner, so I'm just going to re-sew that little bit by hand. Really feels like slave labor when you sew things by hand instead of using a machine. It's like manual labor. But some things are just better hand sewing than they would be if you machine sewed. Like this was a mess. If you were on here just before, I tried to machine sew this Velcro and it just was not having it. My machine is quite old as well. It's a little old girl, but she does great. So just sewing this end, and then I'll sew the other end as well. Okay. Oh, there we go. We'll just tie this off. It's been so stubborn. I think next time I'm definitely going to do this with snap pins. It's a lot easier for me. Anyway, I do find them a lot easier. But it's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's completely understandable. Not everyone's the same, and that's awesome because we can all be different and express ourselves. Sorry there. Got allergies. I own a cat and I'm allergic to cats, and this is like her favourite room in the house to come chill. So sometimes there's just a little extra cat fur than I like. So we're just going to sew this part down. Make sure it's all attached properly. Hello if you've just joined. I am just sewing a dog bow that will attach to a collar. We don't usually sell these on our website. This was a customized, like a request, and I'm always up for a challenge. So if you have anything you want to see me make, let me know. I would love to make stuff. I love learning and getting creative. And this is my first time working with Velcro as well, so very nervous. Especially because I didn't practice first, which is, I should have practiced on something first, but I thought, oh, if you know me, I like to jump head first straight in. Oh, sorry, I'm kicking the camera there. So, looks like it's almost completely sewn down. Almost there. Really wish my machine would cut through this, but it's just not having it today. It thinks it's Friday, it thinks it's the weekend, or maybe a Monday. So let's have a look how this turned out. So I'm just going to tie it off so we don't have any loose threads and it doesn't come undone. It's really important that when you're sewing that you do tie off your loose ends. Because you don't want someone to use it like maybe once or twice and then have it completely unraveled. That would be horrible. So let's see if this is going to work. It's a bit like a little bit of an experiment here. There we go. So that looks perfect. That's going to be for Carlisha's dog's collar. So I'm going to send her some photos of that. I'm really excited. I really like how this turned out. It's really cute. So it's for her puppy, for her collar. So just fluff this up a little bit, and it's got a little thing on the end. So now I know how to make them. That's really cool. So I will move this over here. I did make a bigger one as well for when she's a bigger dog. So there's like a smaller one and a bigger one. I do have to do the backing for this one. just because this was my first test try. That was me trying it out. So let me put all this Velcro away. I say all this Velcro and it's just 2 pieces. It's a very small desk, so which you guys will be able to see in a second. I'll tilt you down so you can see my Cricut. I do tend to call it a Cricut, so apologies if I do. What I mean to say is Cricut. I used to think it was called Cricut at the start. A lot of us did. But it's not. I keep getting told off by the company. So, what's everyone doing tonight? Are you crafting, making projects, sewing? I'm just having a quick chai latte, get my voice back. I'd love to hear what everyone's doing. All one of you. So, I'll show you guys my Cricut stuff. So I did actually start this last night on my live, but I had to pause the machine because it was so bloody loud. I'll move the sewing machine out of the way. So this is, that's paperwork, you don't need that. This is what I made on my Cricut. So I'm making some D20 dice. This vinyl, everything's already been cut out. I just need to peel it off, which is really good. I need to make an ASMR or something of it because so many people love the noise of it. So I'm just grabbing out my tools. There is quite a few tools that you need when you're using your Cricut, and they don't come with the machine. So this one, I don't know the names of them, but it's super important for this one because this helps you peel back the vinyl where it's cut. Sometimes you do need to sharpen it. I've had to sharpen it once. It saves me from buying another one. And this is a Cricut brand one, but you can get this other brand called Nakappa. And they do the mats. They do some accessories and stuff. They're really good. They're a lot cheaper than using the Cricut brand. And their stuff is really good quality as well. This one's the tweezers. It's like a surgical, I don't know if you can see it, the surgical style one. Tweezers. This is really handy as well if you have small pieces that you need to put back on. I'm sometimes use this one. This one, I mean, self-explanatory. Scissors. They're actually really good for a small set of scissors. I try not to use my fabric scissors just because it's not fabric and I don't want to blunt them. So, I don't know if you guys can see. I might need to bring this down a little bit. There you go. Tighten this stand up. Alright, so this is the backing. Now, I did it in a weird way. I'm test trying something out. These are going to be extra stickers. I don't think I'm going to sell them yet. But I put pieces together. So some are going to be solid blue. Some are going to be half blue, half pink. Again, half blue, half pink. And this other like turquoise colour as well. So you can actually do one big cut over it to form one picture. I'll show you what I mean now. So you're just gonna use this hook to put it under the vinyl and lift, and then you just peel it back. Okay, so you can see my little I think it's hexagons. So this is going to be our D20 or dice 20. People use them in games. They use them for D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, which is really popular, especially now that Stranger Things has come out. I'm actually going to peel this whole piece because I don't think you can see on the camera, but I only need this very small corner, and I don't want to waste all this by cutting that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift this one up. I'm just going to cut around it just a little bit, just so I can save this, because when you have vinyl, every little bit adds up price wise, and you can make so much stuff with it. And then you can just place this back down here. You just line it back up so that it makes one picture. If you guys are making any projects, let me know as well. I'd love to hear what you guys are making tonight. It's a bit of a weird night here in Perth. It's a bit rainy, a bit cold. We have had a few sunny days, which has been nice for taking like product photos and things. So that colour, those two colours are done. And I don't know if you can see, but they're actually, this little bit here is turquoise and this one's blue. So this one's going to be like half blue and half pink. So this is a new technique that I've just learnt on how to do it. I think it's really cool. I haven't tried it yet, so sweet. Sorry, making a mess over here. So you see that? That one's one picture. This little white line will go when I use the transfer tape on it. And this one's just pink, and then this one's going to be half blue, half pink again. And then there's a few solid blues on here as well. So let's have a look-see. See, when you sharpen these hooks, sometimes they're a little bit too sharp. And they just stick to everything. So, peeling this back, it's really therapeutic. So there we go. So we've got a few solid blue ones. This has already been pre-cut on the Cricut machine. But I thought because I didn't want to do it on camera because it's so bloody loud. So with this, look at that. All right, so we're going to put this aside. So you got some blue, you got some pink and blue, one pink. You got one that's like a blue and a turquoise blue. So we're going to put that one aside. Now this I cut out earlier as well using the Cricut, but I haven't taken it off the roll yet. So this white vinyl is going to be the top of the D20. So it's going to be the numbers, the outline, everything like that. I am going to use my bigger scissors just because I noticed my smaller ones are a little bit blunt and I didn't pre-sharpen them. But these ones aren't my fabric scissors. These ones are like house scissors, I suppose you'd call them. So I can use these on there without worrying if it's going to break and affect my sewing. Oh, that's such a good sound. So there we go. And when I use the Cricut machine, I like to just attach this on the mat. I don't cut it out or anything, and just leave the whole roll on there, and it puts it through, and then cut it afterwards so that you don't have any wastage, which is really important, especially if you're using the Cricut brand vinyl. It does get quite expensive. This one is Metamark, so this one I think it's about $3 per meter, which is really cheap. It depends again on what brand you're getting, where you're buying it from, like postage and all that. So I'm just going to put that away. Sorry, I got my chai. So we're going to get started on this. So this is all pre-cut. Sorry, there's vinyl stuck on my desk. And that happens, just like if you're sewing, you get all the threads and stuff stuck on you. Vinyl sticks to everything. So I can see here a bit of the outline. I'm not going to pull it all in one go just because there is smaller numbers on here. So I'm going to cut them into little ones. Now some of them are actually really close together, so I don't know if I'm going to get away with it, but let's try. That's why the Cricut scissors are really good, because they're very narrow and you can get through these little gaps. Whereas the house ones are a little bit thicker. And you just got to go real slow. And I think patience is absolutely the key when you're working with vinyl. You've got to have patience, because if you go too hard, too fast, you're going to get air bubbles on your stuff. You're going to have stuff missing, because vinyl will stick to anything. So if you cut it and it sticks to something, good luck getting it off, because it will not. So I've got some extra on the end here, so I'm just going to cut that off, because I can get some good little like love hearts or butterflies out of that one that can go in a bottle, or just stickers I can put anywhere. So I'm going to cut those ends off. So save every piece that you can. You can put them through your Cricut machine as small pieces. They don't have to be big 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter pieces. So I'm just looking at this. They are hard to see. A lot of people use lighting pads that go underneath so you can see what you're cutting out. But I do not have one. But this ring light still works just as good, because this house light I have isn't the greatest. It's more like a warm light, whereas this ring light's white. So I'm just cutting in between the D20s. And these ones, I don't know if I'll be selling on our website just yet. I think I'm going to make a few more and experiment with them. But if you are interested, you're more than welcome to message me. It can be like a TikTok exclusive, I suppose. So that's some D20s there. I just cut out this one as well, or else I'm going to forget what's on there and think it's a normal one. And it's really important to make sure that they're actually close together, because you can save on vinyl as well. It's just the cutting it out afterwards sucks. You can get the Cricut machine to cut out like squares over the top. But I didn't think that far ahead. I didn't think I'd be doing this on live. I thought I would be in my thoughts doing this, which is alright, because I love showing you guys how to make stuff. If you guys want to see anything made sewing or Cricut wise, let me know. I would love to show you. I also have an overlocker as well, that I use to make reusable wipes. So if you're interested in those as well, I can show you. So again, I just sharpened this hook so it goes through the paper as well. So I'm going to be real careful. Now when you peel it back, make sure you're just peeling it straight up and away. Because if you peel it too close to all the numbers and stuff, it will peel that off as well. So I'm just going to go around and peel all of them. Just because the smaller pieces are quite hard and narrow. And they do get stuck to your fingers. And if you're like me, I hate when I have stuff stuck to my fingers. A lot of people do use nail polish holders that go on your hands as what they call a weeding tool. So me pulling the vinyl off is called weeding. So they do use those to like kind of, they wear it as a ring and then they put it in there and then pull off. But I just like to stick it to my fingers, make it into a little ball and then chuck it to the side. Apologies if you're hearing my baby cry in the background. My husband's just rocking him back to sleep now. I'm not ignoring him, my husband's there. So I'm just pulling all of these up. And I think that's the best feeling, is when you're pulling off a big clump of vinyl off something. Like the bigger the project, the better. It's so soothing. Sorry, I thought someone was coming in. So I'm just using white for on top. I am going to experiment with different colours. And if you have dice and you play Dungeons and Dragons, most of the dice are actually different colours. And some of the work I've seen, or the people on Etsy as well, they make the dice out of resin and they put like little flowers inside. It's really cool. I have tried working with resin. I'm not that great at it. And I'm like, I want to try again, but right now I'm like so busy with doing all this stuff that it would just burn me out, I think, if I did resin as well. Which if you're a crafty person and you go through lots of craft, you would completely understand. So I'm just going to stack these on each other so I don't lose them. So you can actually do this on your phone or use a computer program. It's called Cricut Design Space, and it connects either via Bluetooth or cable to your Cricut machine. And that's how I get all these shapes and stuff. So it's basically like a stamping thing, like Sizzix, I think they used to have. My mum used to have a Sizzix. So I'll just show you guys. I like to kind of do this like bendy thing to kind of separate all the numbers and the small pieces. I don't have the greatest camera and the greatest lighting. Hang on, let me tilt this light down. I don't know if you can see the numbers. Oh, you can a little bit, and the lines. So we're going to just pull those out. Some of them are staying and some of them are going. So it's really important, if you're not sure which ones, that you still have the photo up on your phone or your computer to know what you're actually going to be pulling out. So we're going to be pulling out the gap that's between the numbers and the lines. So this one is the number 8. I don't know if you guys can see it. You can swipe the comments out of the way. I am doing this quite close to the camera, so, and it's still at the bottom. So these are just the little insides of the 8. So you can scrape them away, you can lift them up, or you can use like your tweezers as well. So that's how the 8 has come out. And after we pull everything off, we're going to use a thing called transfer tape, and we're going to transfer onto these. And it's going to look really cool. I do have some finished projects, like finished ones of these I made a few months ago, but they are packed away in my bedroom. And I don't exactly want to just ditch you guys and go to my bedroom. they do turn out really nice. So I'm just kind of irritating the vinyl here because it is a small piece in a tight space. So you just kind of irritate it to move it out of the way. You don't have to go hard. You don't have to be rough. You just irritate it and then pull whenever you're ready. Honestly, I think the slower the better when you're working with this. And you need to know what angles are best to pull the vinyl away from without it touching the stuff that you're trying to keep on there. But it is all a learning experience, and even if you're a professional, like sometimes people just, vinyl is very hard to work with, so sometimes you stuff up and it just is what it is. Sometimes you got to redo them, sometimes they can stay, you can fix them. It all just depends on what you're prepared for. So this one's a 6 and it's got a line under the 6. Now the line is very skinny, so I'm going to use my tool here to push down the line, and I'm using my finger to pull the vinyl away from the piece of paper because it is a paper backing on there. And then we just kind of irritate these little pieces here just to get them out of the way, because I don't want to rip them up and then accidentally put a hole in the part that we're trying to keep. So I have done that so many times. So I've done quite a few numbers now. So I've got a 14, a 6, 16 by the looks of it, and an 8. So we're almost there. Now the middle part is a 20 and it's quite a big piece. So we'll just pull that one off. Easy to do. This 0 is quite a decent size. It's not big, but it's a decent size that you can pull it away. You don't need to irritate it. You can just stab this thing in and drag it out. And we've got a 2. So again, we're just going to pull that back. Super easy. It's when they have little pieces in there that it does get quite hard. So I'm going to pull this one back with my finger because there is 2 numbers in this. There's a 1 and an 8, and I'm just going to use the tool to push down those numbers while I pull the vinyl away with my hands, just because it's a lot easier to control that way than holding it down with my finger and then pulling back with a tool, especially because I got little chunky fingers. The spacing wouldn't be the same, so I just irritated that bit and just push it off to the side. Another little bit, just irritate it, push it off to the side. It is quite therapeutic when you're making a lot of the same things. You get in a repetitive action, you start to figure out what angles are good. But it's all about practice as well. And practice doesn't always mean perfect. It's just all a learning experience. I think every piece I do, I can learn something new and enhance my skills, which is really important. As long as you're learning and striving to be better, it's really good. So again, use the tool to push it down. It's a 2 and a 1, and the 1 kind of coming up with the other vinyl, and we don't want that. Got some vinyl stuck to my fingers. And the last one's a 10. So let's see if the one on this sticks, or if I'm going to need the tool. Yeah, I need the tool. So I'm just kind of pushing it down, making sure that it doesn't come up. Got some little pieces of vinyl stuck on my finger. So in the little bit of the 0, we're just going to irritate and push to the side until it's off the piece of paper. So that is it completed. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this one before I get started on all these other ones. I'm going to show you this one, how it gets put on one of these. So I am going to get some tape that I'm using to hold up my light. My light will just go here. My light did unfortunately fall off the stand, so I've got to glue it back on. So this is what we call transfer tape. This transfers it from a piece like this to either on top of something, or it can transfer it onto like a car or a sewing machine. And this stuff, this vinyl that I'm using, does have a 5-year outdoor life. So these can go outdoors. Obviously it will last longer if it is indoors, but if it's outdoors in the weather, harsh conditions, in the sun, it does have a 5-year life on it, which is awesome. It does have a 3-day setting time, so it is really important that when you get vinyl and you put it on something, especially like drinkware, a car or somewhere outdoors, it is really important that it does not get wet for 3 days, or else it will not be at the capacity to hold it for 5 years. So what I do with this one is I like to leave it on the roll still. So I'm just going to push it to the side here. I'm just going to put it flat against the roll, and then I'm going to push the tape over the top. This is not something I've seen a lot of people do, so it might be a bit weird to some people that are watching this and they have a Cricut machine and they're like, oh, hang on, that's not how you do it. I just find it easier. This transfer tape I get from Rainbow Vinyl Co. and it's in a big roll. So you can get the Cricut brand as well, but this I've found you get twice as much from it. It's high tack. Whereas the Cricut one's like $20-something and you get half the amount. And a lot of people are actually starting to complain that it's not as great of quality, or it's too strong for you to be able to transfer it from one piece to another or transfer it onto something. This one isn't the Cricut scraper. So the scraper you get with the Cricut looks like this. Cute little one. Now it's great to start off with, but you find that the plastic on here, and if you're using it on the vinyl, it does scratch. So it's really important that you use a felt one or something with fabric on it, and it doesn't scratch it and it smooths it out. There is a sharper side, this one. I use this to get stuff off my mat, so if it's like a little bit of vinyl I don't want on there, I go like that. Even though it is better to actually wash your mats. Sounds weird, you can just wash it with a sponge, some dish soap, chuck it in there, chuck it on the drying rack, and just leave it for, I leave it, like I'll do it in the morning, and then when it's time to pick the boys up from daycare, I just go back out and it's ready for the night time. So this roll is from Rainbow Vinyl Co. It's in Malaga and Carlisle in WA, and they do ship it in Australia wide. I'm not sure if they do it international, but their shops are, one's kind of closer to the city and one's a little bit northeast. But this is on their website as well. If you look, I'm not sure the exact name, but I think this is actually called medium tack, but I do find that it's actually quite a high tack. It transfers really well, like really perfectly. Sometimes if it is a bit cold, it won't transfer as well. That's why I just kind of use the scraper a lot on it, just to transfer it, just to make sure. So when you're pulling it off as well, it's really important that you just go slowly if there's lots of little bits. If it's a big piece, go fast, like that's fine. But when it's a small piece with lots of little parts on there, it's important that you do pull it slowly and you pull it against, like directly on each other like this at a 90-degree angle. It does help to transfer it better. You might need a little bit of help with some pieces because it is quite a small piece. My machine, I just put a new blade on it, so it did cut a little bit too deep. Especially when I did my live yesterday, I noticed that some of it was actually, the paper was coming onto it. So it's really important to actually scrape that paper off, and I'll show you in a minute because some of it has actually transferred onto this. It's really important that you do transfer it, so that you do take it off, or else it's not going to transfer onto what you want properly and you're going to get air bubbles. Which is a lesson that I had to learn at the very start. I thought, oh, I'll just jump into it, which is cool, but if you want to make stuff to sell, it's really important that you like research and find out all the different ways. TikTok's really good for that. I see a lot of people sharing their tips and tricks. So I'm just pulling this at a 90-degree angle. There we go. So that's what it looks like on the transfer tape, but what you might not be able to see is that there's actually some blue backing, and it's really cool that the backing I use for the vinyl does have a kind of blue, off-white colour, so that you can see what the paper has stuck to, and you can tell as well because it's kind of fuzzy. So what you do, you don't want to stab it like you would when you're removing a big piece of vinyl, is you just want to kind of irritate it. And what that irritation does is it takes off the paper without like scratching the vinyl or leaving any bits on there. So I do have a piece here, so I'm just going to pull it with my finger. There we go. So, oh, it is like a different blue colour, and it's kind of fuzzy as well, so it's really good to see. And it did get on quite a bit just because of I did put a brand new blade on it last night, because it was not cutting. It was not having it. It thought it was a Monday, and it was like, no, you know what, I don't want to work. And the blades I actually used, and obviously they worked really well. The blades I use are from Amazon, I think it was. Yeah, Amazon. You can also get them on eBay and stuff if you want like faster shipping than buying it off another website. So I'm just irritating these ones to get the backing off. Yeah, and they're like an off-brand. They're not the Cricut brand, because when you buy stuff through Cricut, it's super expensive. But I'll show you in a second once I've done this 6. Is this a 6? Yes, this is a 6. There we go. So we got all of it off. No fuzzy bits, no blue bits. You can tell when you transfer it if there is any, because it will not stick. And that's like the first thing. No. Yeah, it must just be a Medmark thing. I do use sizer as well. So a trick I want to show you guys. Geez, that was close. Some people know this trick, some people don't, and that's okay. I'm going to show you guys anyway. So it's actually baking paper or parchment paper, depending on what country you're in. And what I like to do is I like to stick. So I'll show you guys on this blue one over here. Okay. So you can put it over the whole thing, and what you do is you just stick it, like you can just stick it on there, the parchment paper or baking paper, and you can actually move it. So you can maneuver it however you want, and the vinyl does not stick to it because it's kind of waxy, like the backing is, the blue backing. So it makes it really easy to maneuver, sorry. Gosh, I'm cutting words short. And you can just adjust it. You can align it perfectly as well. There we go, beautiful. And then you just make sure that there's a little bit over the edge, and you just push that down. So it is on top of this vinyl piece here, but that's fine. It's not going to rip out the vinyl piece because it's much bigger than this little bit of tape that's attached to it. So it will stay. And what you do is you just flip that up, remove the parchment paper or baking paper, and you just slowly push it down, and it will be perfectly aligned because you can see through the parchment paper to align it, and you just use the scraper to push it down. So it's a really good trick that I learned. It did take me ages of doing stuff ups and then eventually going, hang on, surely there is a much better way of doing this. And that's when TikTok taught me. I forgot who it was. It was ages ago, because I have had this for a few years now. No, for a year now, sorry. Not a few years. Gosh, I wish. So you're just going to scrape it on there. It's really cold here, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of an extra scrape. Just cause that friction there to warm it up. So I'm just going to peel it back from this end. So if I peeled back from this end, it would accidentally pick this one up, and we don't want that. So I'm going to peel it from this end. And again, you're going to pull it back against itself on the 90-degree angle. So you're going to peel back like this. Some parts may stick, so go slow, take your time. You can always push them down with your finger if they do come up. And what you do is you just pull it across, and that makes for a perfect transfer. It doesn't work all the time. I kind of thought it wouldn't work, but it did. And I just push down with my fingers. Just make sure that there's no bits that are accidentally going to come off. Beautiful. And I find that sometimes if you use a scraper afterwards, even if it's stuck really well and you use it, you irritate it, it might get stuck on like something that's only a little bit up, and it might rip that up, and you don't want that. So this is how it's turned out. I'm pretty sure this template is on the Cricut design space as a free one. I'm not 100% sure. It was just kind of on there as a past project, so I used that. So that's stuck on there really well. What I'm going to do is, because I'm going to use this same method to line it up, I am going to remove this so it doesn't accidentally get anything stuck on there. Now, I almost did it the wrong way. You always flip your mats when you're pulling something off, or else you're going to get the paper stuck to it. So I'm going to use my Cricut ones. They're a little bit blunt, so bear with me. But they are much narrow so it can fit in that gap, whereas my house scissors per se, or non-sewing scissors I should say, is a bit too wide and wouldn't quite make the gap. So there's that one. So when you sell these, you can actually just leave the transfer tape on top so that whenever someone gets it, they can just use the transfer tape, change it over, and you just keep the backing as well. If you don't have the backing for it, like if you've cut it out of something, you can actually get rolls, especially from Rainbow Vinyl Co, that do have the backing and like as the transfer tape. They have the transfer tape and the backing in one, so you can transfer it onto there and then sell it. I would take a photo, but it is locked away in the closet. And there is if you've got a craft room, you'd know there's a heap of craft stuff in front, and I don't really want to agitate it, but maybe tomorrow, if you guys want to come back and watch me, I can show you. But that's how it's turned out, and that's a really clean cut. So that's from a new blade. Oh, actually, I said I'd show you guys the new blades. So this is the new, I've had them for a while, but they're from, I think, Amazon or eBay. I think it was Amazon because we had like a free delivery with Amazon Prime. But it's just like these little, I'll show you how to go in. So this is the piece that you use, and that's the blade. It's still got some vinyl on there from last night. Nice. So that little piece here actually can pull out. It looks like that. It is very sharp, so be careful. I don't know why I was so silly to pull it out on camera, but you can just put it back in there. It's kind of like a magnet at the top, and these are the same, but they do have the protective cover. It's like a red rubber cover over the blade, and what you do is you just stick that one in there, and I do remove the red cover first, or else it won't fit in. So you do have to hold the little blade just for like a few seconds, but like I'm not bleeding or anything, so it's, I think because it's a tilted blade. And they do them in different cutting styles as well. So I think that's the regular one, whereas you can get ones that are on different angles for wood. I think it was balsa wood. You can get ones for engraving or plastic and all that. So it's really good, and it's really handy to shop around. Because when I first started, I bought everything that was Cricut brand, and it's quite expensive when it all adds up. And if you want to keep everything low when you're selling things to people, that's a really important thing to do, is get good quality stuff that is affordable for you as well. Because you would hate to run yourself short, especially when you're in the creative business. It's really important not to sell yourself short, because those hard hours you put into designing, the work, the wastage, the fees, it's really important. So I'm just gonna have some tea. But I have made other stuff using the Cricut as well. I'll show you some. So I actually bought some sticker paper from Spotlight. So if you're in Australia, Spotlight is the craft store, the main craft store giant here. My printer was a little bit out of whack, like it wasn't printing where it should be, but they still turned out great. It still was cutted fine. It was just a little bit not quite centered. If you can see here, there's like less white space than there is here, where it should have been more in the middle, but that's fine. It just needs to be calibrated a bit better, which I'm still working out how to do, but that's for another day. So I have made stickers as well. You can make basically anything with your Cricut machine. I've seen people use it for engraving plastic, engraving wood. You can make stickers from them. You can do, there's so much you can do. But even just simple cutting out a square, like I printed these off, used the Cricut Design Space app for it, printed them off, and then I just cut around it because I was still learning how to get it to cut just around the outside. And if you know Cricut Design Space, it takes a little bit of learning to do that, to get it to cut just the outside and not all these little bits. But this was ages ago when I was starting. So that's like a detailed sheet on how to transfer it. So anything for your small business, basically, you can make with your Cricut. So it basically pays for itself. You don't have to go through Vistaprint. You don't have to go through anything like that. I will just show my face. Sorry. Hi, guys. So our business does rely quite a lot on it. We do make stuff that is sewn. as well. If you saw our scrunchies earlier, when I was showing everyone, we do also make these. I have an overlocker machine, and if you don't know what an overlocker is, if you look on the inside of your clothes and there's that real weird stitch, or like in your jeans or anything, and it's not like a normal straight stitch, it's a little bit complicated, that's what the overlocker does. So it makes like this kind of stitch around the outside. And this is one of our reusable wipes. They come in packs of 5 for $15, free shipping Australia wide, and these are the flannelette ones. So with me, I've kind of picked up a lot of different crafts at the same time. But the machines really do pay for themselves once you get on a roll with your small business. But it's just the starting up. You've really got to be really onto it on social media and stuff to get the attention that you need. And with me just starting up, I'm getting there as well. So I can't really give you any advice on that if you're a small business just starting up, because I'm still starting up too. But hopefully, if you follow me and stuff, I'll follow you back and we can watch each other's journey, which would be awesome. Now, these other ones, I'm a little bit nervous of transferring onto these ones. That's why I said I'll do the other one first. So I'm going to do the other one now. I'm going to do one of these now. And we just need to peel this one. So I'll put this back down. There we go. So that's the other one that I made. I did make some of these actually for some of my husband's friends that play Dungeons and Dragons. And it's really cool. You can put them on anything. Because it's made of vinyl and not sticker, it is waterproof, so you can put it outside. But like I said, you've got to wait that 3 days to make sure it's properly, like the glue is properly stuck. Another thing that we sell actually is window clings, which you can use your Cricut for. I'll just show you an example of what I'm talking about, because you're probably like, what the hell is a window cling, Christine? Like, you're crazy lady. And we've just started selling these on our website, but if you have a Cricut, you can make these yourself. So they're actually these ones, and they're called sun catchers. You can actually put them in the sun. Like you stick them to your window, like a window cling, and when the sun is in direct sunlight, it makes a rainbow in your room. But you can also use your Cricut to cut out the outside of it in whatever shape you want, and you can use it to put vinyl on there as well. So you can personalize it. So you can have it something like this, or you can have it cut out just a shape. So for that, I actually did some samples here when I was starting off the other day. This one's a Triceratops. My kids are obsessed with dinosaurs, so I thought it only fit to make a dinosaur one as one of my examples. And what they do, you just put water on your window, and you stick them on, and you can move them around. They're non-adhesive at all, whereas this vinyl is. It leaves a sticky residue, and it's quite hard to get off. Hello. Whereas the window clings, they're like cling wrap, so you can just stick them on your window with water. You can take them off, reuse them. As long as the window's clean and there's no dirt on there, you can just do whatever you want with it. Take it off, put it on. Another thing that the Cricut has taught me to make as well is you can actually get sticker paper, and then you can put vinyl on top of it. So I'll just wait for the thing. So this is just a fish out of water, and I use this as one of the stickers I put into orders just as a little freebie. But the thing about this is it's not waterproof because it has the paper sticker backing, but it does have the vinyl front. But the vinyl front, you might think this is normal vinyl, but if you can see here from the angles I'm putting it on, it's actually like this weird mermaidy colour. And what that is that's actually a book cover. So when you go into Kmart or you see at the start of school term and stuff, you'll see these book covers, and they come in like Frozen and Spider-Man and Batman and all these other things. And I actually found one that was that unique mermaid colour. And I thought, oh, you know what, I might just see if my Cricut can cut through that, and it did. It just means that it doesn't have the 5-year life that the vinyl has, but it's still great to use like on your laptop, like your sewing machine, anything that's inside. It's great to use on. You can try it on your cars, but it won't stay as long. It might get some sun fade. So I'm just irritating these little bits in the gaps on the vinyl. Sorry, my light's a bit too bright. My phone's having trouble. There we go. So I'm just going to do this one again, and then we're going to try and put it on the multiple coloured one and just see, because I haven't done it yet. It's something, a new technique. So on this live, I've learned how to sew vinyl, sew Velcro, and I'm going to learn how to put this on 2 different colour pieces of vinyl that make one picture. Sorry, I've got a needle here. I'm just putting that away so I don't lose it. So I'm just pulling this vinyl away because this is a bigger piece. I can just stab this machine into it. This tool, sorry, it's been a long day. This tool into it and just pull it back. And I just pull it back enough, not too slow, not too fast, but just enough that it gets it moving, gets it out of the way. And with this small part, I can stab that because it's not too small inside the 0. It's just the right size for that. So you can wipe that off. So again, stab it down. Now I'm going to have to pull back with my finger and use the hook end of this tool to push down on this 6 because it was coming up a little bit. Now the inside of the 6 is very small, so I'm just going to use this tool and I'm just going to irritate it just a little bit, just to push it out of the way, completely off the paper. So it's on my desk now, which is completely fine. This desk has lived through everything. So I'm just going to pull it back with my finger just in case, because I know these ones can sometimes pull up. So the inside of the 4, again, it's quite small. Just in there, it's quite small. So you're not going to stab it, because if you stab it, you may actually affect the numbers that are around it. And it won't come out as clean of a cut. So you just want to irritate it and just move it to the side. You can use the tweezers as well. Normal tweezers, or the ones that come with the Cricut packs. I know Nakapa do some as well. Just whatever brand, you can use tweezers. Sometimes tweezers get a bit too irritating. They don't do what I want. So I just prefer to just use my hands and just take it slow, steady, make sure I'm getting everything. Because sometimes when you are pulling up the bigger vinyl pieces, it will pull up the pieces that you want to stay, and then you end up losing it because the vinyl's sticking to everything else and you have to reprint it or recut it out or stuff like that. See, that was picking up the 1, so I'm just going to pull it back with my finger and I'm going to use the tool to hold down the 1 to make sure it stays there. So that's that one. So I'm going to stab it into this one. This one's a 4. That held on pretty steady. That's good. Now the inside of the 4, again, it's quite small, so I'm just going to irritate it. I don't think it was as clean of a cut. Oh no, it's just super small. So there we go. So you just irritate it. Don't pull it straight up. Accidentally put it back on there. There we go. Because you will damage how clean of the cut is on the 4, and you don't want that. So this 18, this is the last one before we stick it onto the other one. There we go. And the 1 stuck down because if you can see, the 1 is actually still attached to the outline. So that's fine. And the inside of the 8 is very small, so we're just going to irritate it. We're not going to stab it down like we do when it's a bigger piece. And we're just going to irritate it. This one's a bit stubborn. I don't think it cut all the way around because it is so small. It is a little bit tricky. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so that's the finished one, and we're going to transfer it onto a multiple coloured piece. So, if you saw before, I used parchment paper or baking paper because this doesn't stick to it. And I have my transfer tape as well. So, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to attach this to the transfer tape. And all you do is you just stick that on there. I do actually have a big roll, but I just use this one as a pre-cut piece to the one that I just did before. Our website is open if you guys want to order as well. I will pack orders live on here. And some things will be made live as well because they're all handmade. So I'm just transferring this. It is a bit cold, so I am giving it a little bit extra static. Like a bit of an extra rub. So I'm just trying to put my Ugg boots on. Because I said it's cold, and then I was like, oh, you know what? My feet are actually really cold. So I'll just put my Ugg boots on. And if you're not in Australia, Ugg boots are just it's like slippers that cover your whole feet. I don't know if that's a thing that's, you know, around the world or just an Australian thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel it back slowly to make sure it's all on there. We're going to pull it directly against itself. So it hasn't stuck as well, this one. Sometimes the paper may stick to it as well, and you will see it as a blue kind of fluffy look, and that's how you know. And I'll show you how to remove the paper from it. I am moving the whole paper here, but sometimes little bits of paper do get stuck to it. Oh, that part hasn't come off. That's fine. There we go. So this is a Metamark vinyl that I'm using. And as someone else commented earlier, they have the same trouble where the paper does stick. I did think it was just because I had a new blade on and maybe it cut a bit too deep, but no, it's a Metamark thing. There's lots of brands you can use. You don't have to just use the Cricut brand. You can use so many other ones, which are still good quality and affordable as well. I notice Cricut do charge a lot for their vinyl, and sometimes they are quite a lot harder to use because they have a high tack. So there we go. So that's it on the tape. I don't know if you can see, but there is some blue fluffy bits. So that's actually the paper that's still attached. So if we leave that on the vinyl, it will not let this stick to the other vinyl that we're attaching to, and it will cause air bubbles and it just won't stick. It will be horrendous. So we're going to use this tool again, and we're not going to stab it like we did with the vinyl. We're just going to irritate it again. So just slow against the surface, sorry. So we don't scratch the vinyl, because that will damage it as well and it won't hold. There we go. So that's the 8. So that's some paper that we're just peeling off. We're not peeling off the vinyl. Oh, this one's moving. Let's just stick him on there. And we're just irritating it. This one is being stubborn and it doesn't want to stick to the tape. I'm just going to hold it down with the tool and I'm going to pull it off with my fingers. There we go, all stuck down. Okay, we're going to do it again with this one. This one's not really stuck down to the tape. I think because I just used this tape with something else, it's a bit like, hey, I'm not as sticky now. I'm going to make you work for it kind of thing. Might try a different angle. Sometimes it is just the angle you use. Sometimes it's other factors. There we go. I think it was just the angle I was on. There we go. Beautiful. So all the fluffy stuff is off. Just making sure that's not a piece of vinyl. Cool. So that's our piece there. Now, what we're going to do, how to make it look like this, from this and this, is we're going to use parchment or baking paper, like I had before. And this time we're actually going to do it on the one that's half pink, half blue, because I've never done this before. This is a TikTok live first for me. And what you do is you don't actually need to stick it on this mat yet. You just stick it on the parchment paper with a little bit of transfer tape sticking over the edge. So like that. See how there's some on the edge? And this is completely see-through. So what this does is this allows us to maneuver however we want without committing to sticking it down, because once it's stuck on the vinyl, you're going to have a really hard time getting it off if you can at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to just move it around till we're happy. Beautiful. And then what we're going to do is this little bit that was sticking over the edge, the tape, is we're going to push it down. Okay, and then once that's down, we lift this up, pull the paper back, and we're going to slowly lay it down like that. Okay, and then we use our scraper. Again, I like using the felt end scraper because it doesn't scratch anything. I'm going to do that, give it a few good goes from a few different angles, make sure we get everything, because sometimes it does stick to the tape depending on how high of a tack it is. And with this, we're going to pull it back again, we're going to pull it back on itself, so against itself, and this helps the vinyl stick instead of lifting it straight up. So it helps the vinyl stick to each other. I'm just going to pull it back. Beautiful. So I'm just going to push it down with my fingers just to make sure that it's definitely doing its thing. Now you can see that's actually on 2 different pieces. So when I cut it out, I just cut out the mat like this design, and then I just put different coloured vinyl on there, and it's actually cut it out as one shape, which is something that I've only just learned on TikTok the other day. Yeah, these tips are awesome. Most of them I have learnt from other makers on TikTok, so I don't want to take like complete, I don't know the word. I'm half awake at the moment. But now when you're pulling these off, it's important that you don't pull it while the mat's flat like this, because if you've noticed when you pull back, especially the MetaMark one, I don't know what it is with its paper, but sometimes it will stick. Sometimes it's the Easy Glide like this. But most of the time, I think because this needs a wash, it's got lots of dirt on here. But usually what you do is you flip it upside down and then peel it. And what that does is that stops the paper from sticking. But in this case, I think it's just going to let me lift. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this one shape out. Okay, so I'm going to just do that. You're going to have these now. They don't have to be on the mat. I just left them on the mat because it was there. And easier because these are all stuck together. So these ones I'll leave on the mat just because it's the same shape, just 2 different pieces. So what you're going to do is just going to cut along. Now you might be thinking, oh, cool, now what though? We can't lift it up because it's not actually attached besides these little pieces holding it up. What you're going to do is, oh my goodness, I've dropped the tape. No, I haven't, it's right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that tape back on it. And especially if you're selling these, it's really important that you sell them with the transfer tape on it, or else it's going to make their life absolute hell to be able to pull it off. So you just leave it on there, and then you can peel off the whole thing. Oh, this one's going to be stubborn on me. Okay, I should do this one upside down. So I'm going to do this one upside down for this exact reason that I just said before, that it will leave it on there. And look at that. So if someone buys them, I don't know if I'm selling these yet. These are an experiment. When they go to transfer on the transfer tape, it's going to transfer it all together, even though these are 2 separate colours on 2 separate pieces of paper. So you always make sure that you leave it with transfer tape. Even if you're not selling it, you're just keeping it somewhere, leave the transfer tape on, or else you're not going to be able to transfer it unless you do have more transfer tape. But these will not stick together because they're only held by these little white pieces here. That's the only thing that's holding the 2 pieces of paper together. So I recommend leaving the transfer tape on there. So these are the 2 ones that we've made so far. And I'm pretty sure this is already in Design Space as a downloadable. If not, you can message me and I'll just send it to you. The SVG, because I can't remember if it was or not, or if I had to go hunting for it. Sometimes you do have to hunt for things, sometimes you don't have to. So I'm just leaving these on the mat so that they're not separate. What's happened here? I think my cat must have been in here when I was in bed last night after I printed these, because something's been touched on there. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that over there so I can get to peeling these again. Now, I put all my spare, so this was a spare from earlier. I'm just going to put that with the other colours so I don't lose it, because then you can do this again. You can do this with however many colours you want. You can just say on the Design Space, hey, I want to print this shape, and then on the mat you can just put all these colours together and it will come out as one shape. Just as long as you use transfer tape with it, it will work. Where does this one go? Cool. There we go. Cool. So we've got all these other ones left. I think the next one I want to try is again the other blue and pink, and then the blue and turquoise one, because turquoise only has a little bit on there. So Actually, I think I might leave these for tomorrow because I don't want to bore you guys too much. So I might show you guys how we do the sun catchers. So I printed this all off yesterday, or not printed, but used the Cricut to cut it all out yesterday. And you can actually buy this film online. This one is this is what causes the rainbow effect on your windows. So it does have like a protector sheet on there, so you can stick it on. It's just plastic. Little bit of rainbow effect. Yeah, there you go. You can see a little bit of it from the ring light, which is awesome. This is something I've found is just becoming a trend at the moment. So get on it while you can. From one small business to another, get on it while you can. They're really popular. If you go on Etsy, they go for about anywhere between $10 and $15. So it's a really good profit for what materials you make. I sell mine for $7.50 or in a bundle of 6. Just because I like to keep my prices low, especially because I'm not on Etsy. I don't have to pay the fees. And I know everyone's struggling at the moment as well, so it's very hard out there. Now with these, I only cut out, because if you go on our website, you can actually get some pieces in different colours, but all of them do come with white. So I only cut out the white pieces so that when someone orders a different colour, like say this one in the center has, I think, a shell or a flower, it's the shell or the flower that's a different color. So then I just smack that on there, it's done, because it will already have this on there. So I'm just going to put these on there, so it's not the finished final product, but it's still some piece on there, ready for when someone orders it. And if you want to check it out, my website's in the bio. Even if you're interested in making them, just see the designs that I've made, just to give you that little bit of a head start. So this one here, I'm just going to curl it so it's easier, so it doesn't all stick together. It says, I want to be where the people aren't. So my favourite movie is The Little Mermaid. So when she's singing, she says she wants to be where the people are. And because I'm a bit of a homebody, I want to be where the people aren't. And I thought, oh, a lot of my friends are a bit like that as well, so that would be absolutely perfect. A lot of the stuff I make is from people recommending things or saying, hey, do you make this? And I'll be like, I don't yet, but I will learn it, and I will let you know if I'm successful. If I'm not, sometimes if it's very busy, I do have to turn down people, which I absolutely hate doing, because I want to make things personalised and customised for what people like. So it's very hard, but I do try. So, and if you have a small business that's in the customised personalisation kind of style of things, you'd completely understand when you're overwhelmed. It is very hard to customise things, but a lot of the stuff on the website is completely customisable. And if it's not, you can always just message me, and I'm more than happy to customise. It's just the bigger projects I have to make sure I'm not as busy for. So we actually have a lot of stuff coming to our website recently. These being one of them, these little window clings, rainbow window clings. But with the changing of seasons too, we're going to have some more things come out, like the icy pole holders, the stubby holders, hats, t-shirts. Just because not a lot of people buy t-shirts in this weather, or hats, because they're all inside. And I'm kind of glad that I'm starting this now and not during the pandemic when we were in lockdown. In WA, we were on a very long lockdown, so not a lot of people were outside. So what I did is I just pulled the main part of the vinyl off, and I just kind of irritated the little bits until they came off. And that one there says, I want to be where the people aren't, which I think is absolutely awesome. And that one just goes on a circular one of this, and your Cricut machine can cut this. I cut this as, I think it was either 80 GSM paper or premium vinyl. It's more like a premium vinyl feel. It is quite thick and plasticky, so something that does a deep cut would be better. Now when I put this on here, I do usually put it on the flatter bit. That's actually the static bit. So I actually learned that I have to put it on these parts that have the ridges. So it's really important that when you put it on, that there's no air bubbles. So you're going to have to wipe it a few times using this to make sure that there is no air bubbles. So this one goes on the circular one. Does it? Let me double check. So these are the ones I've made before. So double checking before you put things down is super important as well, because you'd hate to put it on the wrong piece. Yeah, so it's on the circle one. So this is the one that I made before. It's the backwards for you guys. So that's the Norway. So it's got like a yellow shell in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're actually on the website, it comes in different colors, but all this other stuff stays white. So we're just going to transfer just the white, and this one we're not going to transfer yet until we get an order and someone says, hey, I want this pink or blue. Then we can print that off using the Cricut. Not print off, but get it cut using the Cricut, just so that it's all ready to go and it's fully customizable as well. And if you have a look on the website, there are so many colours that I have, because I kind of went a little bit overboard when I first got the Cricut machine and saw that Rainbow Vinyl Co. do it cheaper. So, like all the vinyls cheaper. So it's really important that you research as well, guys. Research is so important when you're a small business. So again, we're going to use our transfer tape roll. I think, no, that piece is going to be a bit too small. So we're going to take it... Wow, that was a bit more than I expected. A big chunk, I think about there. And I'm just going to size it up with my eyes. So yeah, that looks about right. And we're going to stick it to the roll. We're just going to roll this over the top. And it should be very taut. So, oh, please tell me you're not stuck. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. So it's stuck on there. Still stuck on the roll. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel it off. And we're not going to peel it off the paper. We're going to take the paper with us. And we're going to cut around the paper. And this transfer tape, this little piece, we can use multiple times. It's really good, this brand. Unfortunately, I don't have the brand name, but if you're interested in the roll, they do sell them on Rainbow Vinyl Co., which is where I get mine. Really affordable too. It keeps your cost of goods down. So it's taped on there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just flatten it out, because it was on a roll, so it's going to be a bit of a curved surface. So we're going to use our soft end, or our felt end. I got this from Rainbow Vinyl Co. as well. They're about $4, I think, last I checked. I have to go back there again, but I have so much vinyl already that I don't know what to do with it. So we're just going to make sure that it's super stuck on there. Cool bananas. So then we're going to lift it up. Take the paper with it. Don't not take the paper with it. We're going to put it upside down. Sticky side up. And with the paper, again, it may stick to the vinyl. So we're going to pull it against it. And if it does stick to the vinyl, just go slow. Make sure it does stick. Push it with your fingers. Do whatever you can. Just take your time. It's better to make sure it's all there with the paper stuck to the letters than it not there. Because then you have to put it on yourself and it may not be lined up properly. And it's super frustrating. When I was starting, I kept pulling it very fast. And it was so frustrating for me to try and realign it. That's why I just constantly on TikTok watching other people do it and how their methods. So this eye has been stubborn. It's taken a lot of the paper with it. There we go. We got it stuck down. Okay. The next word. Just take your time with it, guys. Metamark is very hard, which is the brand of vinyl I'm using. Is very hard to transfer because it's so stubborn. No matter how good your blade is, if you use the premium outdoor vinyl setting on your Cricut, it's always going to do this. So again, pulling it against itself. So I'm just trying different angles here, guys. Sorry if it's not that great. So I'll come closer. There we go. We're just taking our time with it. Some people I've seen go super fast. I'm like, what the hell? So everyone's different, but for me, I find going slow, making sure it's all on there is super important to me. But everyone is different, so if you guys have a different way, let me know. I'd love to know all the ways that you guys do it. I love learning, or if there's new techniques. I love it. I'm always learning, and it's good because it feels my creativity. So I'm just going around. So quite a lot of this does have the paper sticking to it, which is very frustrating. But the opposite side of it would be it not sticking at all on the tape, and then you have to try and realign it. So that's why I go slow. Again, everyone's different. Now to remove the paper, like almost every letter has paper on it, you just irritate it. So you don't stab it like you would to rip up vinyl. You just go along with it, just kind of irritate it, and it will come off on its own. It's a really great feeling. I think that's why I don't really mind it being stuck to it, because it's just so therapeutic, just peeling it off. Just take your time as well. A lot of this I make videos of and I fast forward it, so it's really good that you guys get to see this, like how long it actually takes and where your money is going, because a lot of small businesses don't charge items by persons, like per hour pay. Some people do, some people don't, and that's totally alright. I don't like to factor it in, because sometimes something might take me an hour and I don't see fit to charge them like $25 for something that I'm still learning to get better at. I just charge, you know, just a good price, affordable price, like for materials and shipping and fees, and then a little bit of profit on the side, but we don't see that profit because it all goes back into the business. And when you have a small business, it's so important that you put that money back into the business to grow and to find new things and people's recommendations as well. Save up for bigger machines, better machines, and just better yourself as well. So that's super important. We're still learning that, but we are getting there. A lot of the money that we get coming goes to new things. So I think our last time we got paid from the business had income was we bought these, and we brought a bunch of other sticker stuff too, which will be coming in the mail soon. So it all goes back into the business, and it's so important to buy new stock and keep it going and keep everything flowing. So I'm just irritating the paper. Like I said, it's on almost every letter. That's just, apparently it's just a brand. As someone else commented that they've had the same problem. I thought it was because I had a new blade. I think I might be wrong, because I usually do have problems with this, so I wouldn't be surprised. So we're just irritating that paper there. It's kind of like an off bluey white colour, so it's easier to see and it makes it fluffy. So we're just irritating it. Oh, this piece is weird. It's like stuck on the transfer tape itself and a letter. You got some Gwen Stefani playing in the background there. So if you're a Gwen Stefani fan. Wonder how she's going, actually. I haven't heard if she's made any new music. I'm kind of a 90s music girl, even though I was born in the 90s. I love 90s, noughties music. I love some of the new stuff too. One of my friends loves Harry Styles. And I'm trying to think of ideas of Harry Styles things to make. So if you guys have any ideas as well, let me know. Like stickers and stuff that you'd look at and go, yeah, that chick's a Harry Styles fan, without saying you're a Harry Styles fan. Oops, so this E wasn't properly stuck down, so I went to irritate the paper and it's actually just moved itself. So I've got to place that back down. There we go. It's not quite aligned. Bummer. If you have tweezers as well, you can use them. I just like to irritate it back to place with this. This is my tool for everything. I sharpen it. If you actually want to sharpen these, if you have a tool like this one or similar brand or whatever, you just get aluminium foil and you just stab it into the aluminium foil and it will sharpen the end. Same with the blades. If you only have one blade and say you're waiting for payday to get more, you just stab the blade into some aluminium foil and it's good for a little while longer, depending how much you use your Cricut machine. it depends on how much more life you'll get out of it. But it's a really good hack as well. I used to have a little piece of aluminium foil in here before I got new blades. I tell you what, every day I was just using the aluminium foil hoping it was going to get sharp, until it was like, nah, okay, it's time to get new blades. And I only have the regular blade. I need the the regular one and the circular one that comes with the maker, because I have the maker one. I want to get the engraving one. If anyone's got any experience with the engraving tool on the Cricut, let me know, because I'd love to watch some videos on how to use them, because I haven't gotten that far. I'm still on the regular blade kind of Cricut stuff. So this paper here, I've kind of warped this letter now. It's only a little tiny bit warped, probably enough that I can tell, but you can't really tell by looking at it, because my hook got stuck trying to peel up that paper, so I'm just sticking it back down. There we go, perfect. It's just an air bubble, that's fine. If you guys are interested in any of this stuff, check out our website. It's in my bio. Even if you're looking for ideas for yourself to make, like, just have a look. I'm always open for messages and stuff if you guys are wondering how to make something, or want to refresh a video on how to make something or sew something. Sorry, my dinner's decided it wants to come back up. There we go. Oh my goodness, it really is almost every letter on this one. I think because it's such a small, like, it's not as big as a piece as the other ones. It's all individual little letters. So it's chucking a bit of a tansy here, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm going to stick to everything, lady. And it's really important that you get it all off, guys, because if you don't get the paper backing off, it will get air bubbles, and again, it won't stick properly, and it's just a disaster. So make sure you do it. There we go. It's coming off the transfer tape now. You gotta be careful when you're using your fingers too. You can kind of see I'm using my fingers, but you gotta be careful where you place it. If you place it on the vinyl will stick to your finger, and then you're gonna be in big trouble, because then you gotta remove vinyl from your finger, and it won't be as sticky when you go to put it on whatever you're putting it on, because the adhesive will be on your fingers. So just be mindful of that. I'm still trying my best to be mindful of it, because I do it all the time. Or like the tops of an I or something, like the letter I. I constantly get them stuck on the vinyl or on my fingers, and I have to go back and try and find it. And by that time, the vinyl's in a ball like this, so it's very hard. So make sure you're just mindful. You gotta really be concentrating on almost every part of this. There's honestly so many things you can make with a Cricut machine. As well, I've seen some people make shirts where you make the stencil and then paint on the shirt, but you use the Cricut machine to make the stencil. That's something I want to get in, but again, it's quite hefty. You've got to do that as like a main kind of thing, or order it from another business to do it for you, because it is very time consuming. It's very messy. You got to have the skills, you got to have the tools, and they are not cheap. So that is how it's turned out. Again, that's the back, which is the right way for you guys. I want to be where the people aren't. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick it on our circle, and we're going to make sure that it's on the one with the ridges on it, because the other side is the static side. So like we did before when we were doing these, we're going to do the same method to align it. We're going to get our parchment paper, and we're just going to stick it on there so it's completely movable. I can see through it. I'll just get rid of this loose paper here so it doesn't get stuck. I always make such a mess so easily in here. And we're just going to move it around until we're happy. And you can see the circle. You can see it on the camera as well. You can see where the circle is. So it's really good. And the vinyl does not stick to the parchment paper or the baking paper, because it's like a waxy feel, which is good. So you can use it freely. I'm just lining this up now. And when you're happy, stick that down, the end part down, not the vinyl. And then you're going to lift up the tape that has the vinyl. and remove the paper while keeping that still in the same spot. Super important. It doesn't want to come with you because you're going to stick this on it. Beautiful. So we're going to stick that down. I'm just rubbing it with my fingers to make sure, and then I'm going to use this. Again, I use the felt side. It's a lot softer on it. It doesn't scratch it like the Cricut one does. We're just going to make sure we get all of it. Now, this won't be a finished product because the centerpiece, the shell, is going to be multicolored, and whenever someone orders it from our website, it's whatever color they choose it to be. So it's only half finished, so it does save me cutting the whole thing through the Cricut if this is just ready and I can do just the one color and stick it on. So it's just preparation for all that. Now when you're peeling back, peel against it. It is going to pick up a bit of the sticker underneath, so peel it back. You want to go slow, make sure all the letters are down because you don't want to go too fast and then find that the letter didn't stick, because then you have to go back and align it yourself, which I can guarantee you now it won't be as perfect as what the Cricut does. I'm just making sure it's still stuck properly to the backing because there's some air bubbles, but that's fine. It's not the backing that we care about getting the air bubbles, it's the vinyl. But the vinyl doesn't have any air bubbles, so that's fine. So that's how it comes out. So with these, what you do is you stick them on the window, and when the sun comes through, it makes a rainbow in your room. It's really pretty. They've just come out on our website like 2 days ago, yesterday I think, which is really cool. And oh, I love them already so much. So we've got another one here. This one's the bigger size. These are all $7.50 as well. Like, even though this one's a little bit bigger, it's still $7.50. With this one, it's going to say Fate Loves the Fearless. And the Fate and the word fearless are the chosen color on the website that you choose. And the words loves the, and this little, I don't know if you can see it, there's like diamonds, crystals, sorry, not diamonds. They're going to be in white and the rest of it yellow. So it will look like this, and the yellow can be whatever other colour, or it can still be yellow, whatever the person chooses on the website. So it's less work for later. I can just run the yellow through the Cricut machine. So it's just about that preparation instead of making all of them in one colour and then no one buying it, because you want to be safer than sorry than having too much stock. Sorry, my transfer tape just fell. There we go. So we're going to peel these ones back. Now there is a very thin lines. I don't think my camera's picking up on it, but there and little pieces that are sticking up. So you've got to be really careful, because if you accidentally pick up one of the lines or something like that, it will stretch it, and that's when you get air bubbles under your vinyl. So with this one, because it's the main outside bit, you don't need to just irritate it. It's not going to go anywhere. You've got to actually stab it, like hook it in, and then peel it up. So get that air bubble there. Now because it's a bigger piece, I like to pull this one back and just pull it back myself, and it's so therapeutic and so calming. I need to make an ASMR of it because I think quite a few people would like it. So I'm just getting all the other bits of vinyl. It's really good when you get a good big piece, because you can get all the little pieces off your hands with it. Because I don't use a holder or anything, I just peel it all off and put it on my hands. I'm that person. And then these parts are kind of big as well, so we can pull them back by kind of stabbing instead of irritating. There we go. So this is the crystal, and this goes on the side next to the loves the part of it. So just pulling those parts up. This technique, this is what I'm doing here, is called weeding. There is another technique called reverse weeding, where you put it on the transfer tape first and then you pull all the little bits out. But I do find that doing it this way is better just for me, like my opinion for me, because when I have transfer tape on the bottom, my hands get stuck to it. And it just makes me more irritated. I'd rather just hold the piece of paper down and peel it back myself. Some things it works great for, some things I prefer to just do it myself. Okay, so we're starting to get to the smaller pieces now. So this is where you just irritate it. You don't really stab it down, you just kind of have it just rubbing up against it, and it will come up on its own, and you won't damage the stuff around it, like overstretching everything. And I'm just putting these on my hands too. Again, I'm that kind of person. I don't have those little catcher ring things for the vinyl. I should probably get one, but I do have very big hands, so it will probably, no doubt, not fit on my hand. There we go. And if you don't know what I mean, it's the nail polish holders. People have been buying them to use to put the scrap pieces of vinyl in. But I see a lot of people use them, and they have very petite hands and they fit perfectly. So if you know of any that are a little bit bigger, please let me know. Because I would love to get one. I hate when stuff's on my hands. So see, I'm just irritating it. I'm not really like stabbing into it. I'm just irritating the surface till it detaches itself and will stick on the hook. Sometimes if it doesn't stick on the hook, you can just move it to the side, like brush it to the side, which works just as well. You just got to make sure it's not on the paper when you transfer, because whatever you transfer it onto, that little piece will be on there. And that's super annoying, because then you have to try and get it off the piece you transferred on, and it's absolute hell. Take my advice. So we're just irritating these, and once it's like clear of everything, you can kind of stab it to try and pick it up. If you have tweezers as well, the pack I bought this stuff, the tools in, was the Cricut pack, and it has these tweezers. They're kind of like surgical ones, or nurse tweezers or something. They're kind of weird. I love them. But I wouldn't really use them on this project. I actually prefer to use them on bigger projects, which is probably a bit backwards. I think I do everything a little bit backwards on here. So I've been told. I don't. Some people recommend it for certain things, and I recommend it for others. But just whatever works for you guys. Like, honestly, these are just hacks that I use. That I recommend. Oh, there's a real tiny piece. There we go. So you just push it out. I push it onto the desk. The desk, honestly, this desk has lived through my husband's gaming years, my sewing. I think I cut on here, yeah, with a rotary cutter once. Well, probably more than once, because I couldn't be bothered finding my mat. And yeah, honestly, this table, I need a bigger one. We need a bigger, we still call this the craft room, even though it's the business room, but it still gets called the craft room or the spare room because of how much craft stuff is in here. We actually live in a 3-bedroom house, and my 2 sons, they're 2 and almost 1, they sleep in the same room just so I can have a room to craft, because if I had all this stuff out in the main living area, they would touch it. And I would much prefer them to sleep together and have that bond, not in the same bed, but in the same room, than to find all my stuff and touch it. And some stuff is somewhat hazardous and sharp, so I prefer to just have my own little room. So that's the diamond and some floral stuff. Some of the designs I do get from Design Space. I do have the paid access, so some of them are paid. And some of the stuff I use the Canva app for. Again, I have a paid Canva account. I think it's about the same as what the Cricut account is per month. So honestly, it's so good. And when you pay on Canva, you also can save files as SVGs. And if you know about SVGs, they're so important when you're using Design Space. Oh, that little part came up. Because it saves pictures without the background, which is what you need when you're editing. It just makes it so much easier to edit. So I've used cursive writing on here, so it's struggling a little bit. And that's fine. So I'm just turning this as I go. So that came off on its own. Just put that there. And I'm kind of irritating it. I'm kind of stabbing it. It's a bit of half-half just because of the cursive writing is so delicate. Most of these I did design on Canva, so apologies if you're trying to find them on Design Space. They most probably are on Canva. just because I wouldn't even know anymore, because I use both so religiously. Not religiously, but every day. Like a routine. Sorry, I thought I was missing a piece there. That's fine. Now again, because it's a bigger piece, I'm just going to use it to take all these little pieces of vinyl off. Kind of irritating. Super sensitive to stuff, like sticky stuff and touching me and stuff. I should probably get that looked at. Might bring it up with my therapist or something. One of my sons just made a noise saying hello. So we're just going to irritate the center of this E. It's kind of a bigger piece, so you can kind of stab it down. You don't have to. You can just irritate it and it will come up on its own. Depends how patient you are, and your skill level too, I suppose. I'm kind of intermediate. Not that great. I'm still learning much myself, so if you guys have any tips, please let me know. Or how you do things as well, because everyone's different. Oh gosh, so this cursive writing is a pain in the butt. So it's really sticking to the inside vinyl that I'm trying to get out, and what happens when it sticks to that is, because it's permanent vinyl that I'm doing here, it has a really good stick on it. There we go, I got it off. Just make sure that it's stuck back down. You got to make sure that if something lifts up from this, that you push it back down and there's no bubbles underneath. It's really important, or else it's going to go on to whatever you're putting it on with the bubbles, and it's not going to be pretty and not sellable. So there's a very tiny piece here. There we go. So I just irritated that piece. This one needs to be irritated because it's very delicate, this cursive writing. I did do it the other day and I don't remember it being this delicate, and this little line here moved, so I'm just putting it back into place so that when we get the transfer tape onto it, it's all good. So that's the Lovester, because Fate and Fearless are the coloured words. So we're just doing the Lovester at the moment, because that's in white. It's not a customization. They all come with the white writing, unless I'm like messaged or asked otherwise. It just comes as a standard as white, which all the colours cost the same, or almost all the colours cost the same. Some are a little bit expensive, but I don't charge extra. Just because they're not that big. What's the point? So make sure you peel the paper off with it too. I almost just peeled the other part up. Now I'm not going to use the baking paper for this because I can see it. It's not like a circle where it has to be perfectly centered. This one does have the crystals next to it, so I just make sure it's a little bit to the side. So I'm going to leave this one out just so I can see. Yeah, that way. And just make sure it's the one with the lumps and bumps on it. Oh, I got vinyl on my hands. So now we're going to pull the paper back against it. And now this is cursive writing, so heads up, cursive writing sucks. So take your time. Like I said, I don't remember when I made the other one that the cursive writing was this bad. So I'm just focusing on this. Seems that it's a bit stuck to the paper again. That's fine. Sometimes it does that. It's nothing to do with you. It's usually just the vinyl. There we go. Now this other word's like chunky letters. not cursive, chunky. So it's a little bit easier. It's supposed to be a little bit easier, but it is just not having me today. And again, this happens to everyone, guys. You don't have to be a pro or anything. Like, it literally happens to everyone. There we go. Okay, so we did get quite a bit of backing on there. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to irritate the paper on the back. And what that should do, you're going to have to change the angles around a little bit too, because everything's on a different angle and stuck on differently. Just going to irritate it and pull it back. So if you leave it on there, it's going to cause air bubbles on your product or whatever you're putting it on, and it's really not pretty. So I just used my fingers to get that off because it was quite a big piece. And I can do that again. Oh, that is so good. That's so therapeutic when it all comes off. And then we just got this little bit on the cursive, so I'm just hoping that I can just irritate it and I don't have to put too much pressure on it because it is very delicate. I don't usually work with it as delicate as this. I don't know why I decided to, like, why I chose this font. Because it's very stubborn. So I'm just going to get that off with my finger. Oh, maybe not. Maybe finger and the tool. Yep, there we go. Cool. Now, we're going to stick this on. Now, I'm going to have the other ones compare it. And it's just off to the side. So, about there. Beautiful. I just stick it down with my finger. I do find when you're using transfer tape on this rainbow stuff, it can stretch it. It doesn't affect the use because it's still static, but I just prefer not to put too much pressure on. So I'm just doing it with my fingers and then peeling. It's really important to just peel against it on that 90-degree angle so that it sticks better. And I'm just going to stick this on the crystal while I push this down. Now, I push down with my finger because if I use the scraper, even with the felt side, it will lift some of it up. And then you're going to have to be left with putting it back on there, and sometimes the stick just doesn't stay. So that's why I just push straight down with my finger. I got some old vinyl on there from something. There we go. So these are the rainbow window clings that I'm making. And this little gap here, we're going to put this one on. Now, it's really important that whatever I do not put this transfer tape on this vinyl that just got stuck down, because it hasn't been 3 days and it takes 3 days to set. It's really important that I don't put it on there, that I put it only on the window cling. So it's going to be quite exciting to see. Let's see how I go. I have seen some people also put it upside down and then do this. Maybe we should try that. We'll try that. Little experiment. I just hate the sound of it, that's why I don't do it. So we're going to pull back again on that 90-degree angle. Okay, that... Ooh. Wow, there's paper stuck to it, but it's actually... Well, I'm going to use my tool. I know you guys can't see, sorry. I'll try and put it on an angle. But the paper has attached to only some of it, so it is pulling some of it up. But some of it is still stuck down. It's very strange what it's doing at the moment. It's trying to make a 3D crystal. So I'm just trying to separate the two before it damages something. There we go. Use my hand. And I'm just making sure that it's still flat. The vinyl is flat on the transfer tape so it doesn't cause bubbles. Okay. Now there is a flower here as well that didn't stick. So I'm going to have to stick it back down. Just that side though. And I have a feeling that there's it's gonna have paper stuck down with it too. Now I'm just using my tool here to try and separate that paper and the vinyl from each other. So hopefully I don't have to do it later. You've got to have a lot of patience with this. And you're going to have more stuff up at the start than you do have successful products, and that's part of it, just like training wheels. And that's why I recommend that you go on the cheaper vinyl, especially at first. Not cheaper per se, but more affordable. It still works just as great, still has the same lifespan outdoors and all. It's just cheaper. I know some people prefer certain brands over other ones. I prefer the Sizer Easy Weed, but that's the heat one, heat transfer, I think. I am doing this half awake, sorry, because it's Thursday. So just making sure that it's all stuck down, because I do see some parts are lifting up. So just make sure you take your time with this. Now there's no paper stuck to that because I use the tool to separate it, like in between. But it is, I can see some parts are raised, so you've got to make sure that they are stuck down before you transfer it onto whatever you're transferring it onto, because again, the air bubbles. Some days there's nothing you can do, you're just going to have air bubbles, and some days there's just little tips that help. I honestly don't know how I've gone this long talking without anyone asking me questions and stuff. Good to have music when you're doing live, guys, because you talk to yourself a lot. Okay, beautiful. Now, we're going to make sure, again, that it does not stick to these ones because it will rip it up. Now, this one is actually, the crystals here are on an angle, so I'm going to make sure that this too is on an angle. It's important to make sure that it looks like the picture as much as possible, even if it's handmade. So see how I haven't put it on the letters? Like it's so close, but it's not on there. And I've just pressed it down with my fingers, just because it will stretch this material out, the rainbow window cling. We just peel against it, and it's really good actually that we've used this tape a few times, because it's not as rough. When you pull it off, it doesn't stretch it as bad. So that's one done. So when someone orders it and they order this in whatever color they want, I just print off that color and then I can add to it, and it's done. So these are like prepared for someone's order, and it's just so much quicker, especially when you have a big load of orders coming through. Make sure that you clean off the rubbish too, unlike what I've been doing, because you can get quite confused on what has vinyl and what doesn't. It would appear my bin has moved. No, it's just hiding. Again, this is your typical craft room. Everything in here is like all different crafts and stuff. It's crazy how much different craft stuff I have in here. So I'm just checking to see if there's any orders on our website, which is open, guys. If anyone wants to check out our website, that would be awesome. I can show you what goes into it. Some of it is handmade, so I can make it on camera. Some of it isn't. My computer's not been charging. My computer's been unplugged. So that's how you know your cat's been in your craft room, guys. There we go. Cool bananas. Was hoping to make some live orders and show you guys on here. It's been a bit of a quiet night, which happens. I usually do my live packing on Wednesdays. Sorry, my light fell down. My makeshift ring light. So no orders yet, but I can show you guys another one that we're making. So we made two. The other one I had was this one. Now I only cut 3 of the 6 out because someone ordered 2. And I believe the other one I just didn't cut out for some reason. But that's fine. So the other one that we're making is this window cling. No, that's not it. This one, my bad. It's been a long day. Says you are bad. B-I-T-C-H. So this is the window cling. You peel off this, stick it to your window, gets a rainbow. Really cute in rooms, like in your bedroom and stuff. It just makes you feel better. And in this craft room, I do get a lot of sun. So I have them up, the display ones that I made, and it looks really nice on the walls. Sorry. I don't think I've talked this much in my life. So we're going to do this one. There is a few little pieces on here, and again, it's got the crystals, so we're going to have to be really careful because they are very thin lines. So I just took this down again so you don't see my face, you can see what I'm doing. So it's very hard to see with the ring light, but you'll see in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel this up, and you can stab this one because it is a big piece. It's not got little pieces all over it. Oh wow, it's 10 o'clock here in Perth. Didn't even notice. I feel it though. I definitely feel it. So there is little pieces, so you've got to be careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hook off. I'm going to peel it back with my hand, just because I can also use this to hold anything like the small pieces down. If you guys have any questions too, more than welcome to ask me. Completely open to suggestions as well. So if you see something I'm doing and you're like, oh, there's an easier way that I find to do, let me know, because no doubt I probably haven't tried it yet. Or maybe I have and I thought it just wasn't for me, but I still love knowing what you guys recommend. Look at that. That's awesome. Only a little bit stayed. So I'm just going to get the rest of it off. There we go. So that was the little bit. So there you can kind of see the crystals. So we're going to take out the little insides, and then we're going to be able to transfer it. And it's going to look amazing. I think this was off Cricut Design Space. For the bigger pieces, you can stab down using your tool. For the skinnier pieces, just irritate it. So these ones are all quite big. This one's being stubborn. If you guys also recommend a certain vinyl, let me know. I can order some and make a video. Me using it. These pieces on this crystal are all quite a decent size, so I've stabbed them. Oh, except for this one. This one I'm just going to irritate. So that's just pushing it along the surface. There we go. Super easy. Because if you do stab into it, you may miss, and you may stab into these little lines here, which the camera's not showing. These little lines here, and if you lift them up, they can stretch and they can cause air bubbles, and we don't want that. So, I've got some Joe Jonas playing. This one, quite a big piece, but my hook just didn't want to. There we go. Again, another big piece. What is everyone doing tonight? Does everyone have like crafting plans or projects? I would love to see what you guys are making. If you're just having a chill day, I'd love that as well. I think I've been having a pretty chill week. I've been trying to get on social media more and make more, especially because this is my job now. So it's super important to make sure that I'm consistent. It can be quite difficult. There we go. So these are quite decent sizes, so they're quite easy to just pick up with the tool. Awesome. This is really well, a little too well. It's probably going to be a horrible peel, but I can't wait. We are also making some candles too, so the craft room smells absolutely amazing right now. We don't make them in here, we have to make them in our kitchen, because this room is too small and doesn't have a sink and a stove, just like any other room wouldn't, besides a kitchen. So hopefully we can start putting them up soon as well, because they smell so good. Aromatherapy is really good for the mind. I never used to use it, but now mentally it's great. So that's everything peeled out. So we're going to transfer it. Got our transfer tape that we've used 2 other times, and it's still really well, like going really well. So we're going to use our scraper and just scrape it on there. So, where is the example gone? This one. So it's not quite centered, it's kind of a little bit down. What I'm actually going to do is, this is another cheat way of doing it, is I'm going to have this one on top and I'm going to line it up that way. So you're going to peel this with paper up, tape down. It's going to be stubborn. Let's try this angle. Some angles are better than others. Every piece is different. So quite a lot. It's going well. A bit better than I thought it would. Oh, I jinxed it. I jinxed it. Alright, so it's one piece, kind of. Nope. Now it's one piece. Now we're on to the other one. Okay, so most of the paper is ending up on this. So I'm going to try peeling it from this other angle here. Let's see if that helps. Yes. No. You know what? Probably don't listen to my instructions. It's all a learning experience. It's a very unique one for sure. Alright. There's a big piece of paper there. So I'm just going to peel that. Okay. Now, all except for 2 stars, all up here is fine. So we're just going to irritate the backing that's been left on the 2 stars. We're not going to stab it, we're just going to irritate it, or else you're going to get holes in your vinyl. And then that means air bubbles, and it doesn't look nice. I say all this stuff, but I do make the mistake sometimes of just going, oh, stab and then pull, and just because I think it's faster, and then I'm like, oh no, what have I done? Now I'm going to remake it. So, just irritating the backing that got left on there. There we go. Alright, so some of this is still lifted up. It's not quite on the tape, so I'm just going to push it down with my tool. There we go. Now let's lift up this paper. Oh, that is amazing. Oh, that was a big piece. Well, I think it's a big piece. So I'm just going to irritate it again. If any of you guys are thinking of getting a Cricut, I highly recommend it. It will make your creativity go into overdrive. Or even the silhouettes machines. I've heard good things about them. Never own one, so I can't say whether it's worse or better. But those kind of machines are so good for your creativity and feeding it. Again, very therapeutic. Oh, this came off in one go. That's so good. If you're looking for things like that to keep you busy, keep you going, and you have a brain wired kind of like mine, where creativity driven, keeps you not just distracted, but it fulfills you, I think it would be perfect for you. That and aromatherapy as well. So because I put the other one underneath it, ta-da, surprise, that is going to be my alignment. I'm not going to use parchment paper or baking paper, just because I'm quite happy with that on its own. Just checking if there's any orders yet. None. I might just make fake orders until we get a real one. So we're just going to line it up. There we go. And then we just push it down. Take the other one off. There we go. Can use this tool. Beautiful. So because it is a medium to high tack tape, it usually does stick a lot more, but because we've used it 3 times, it's going to stick a lot less. So it's not going to pull on this and stretch this, which is what we want. We don't want it to stretch it. Even though it's static still, it will still stick. It doesn't look nice when it's warped. Beautiful. That's that one. I'm just going to push with my hands, because again, if you use a scraper to flatten it down, it may lift it up a little bit, and then you have to stick it back down yourself, which isn't as nice. Sorry, that had something on the back. So that's that one. Again, the colour is what people can customise on this, so we're not putting the colour on there, because if someone wants a different colour, and we have already done one in a different colour, then it won't look as great. So we're just leaving that blank, so when someone orders it, that's the only colour that we have to cut and put on. It makes like being prepared like this makes it a lot faster to send your orders out, and your customers will thank you. It basically pays for itself. So I will put those over there. I think that is all for tonight, guys. It's 10 o'clock. Thank you all for staying so long with me. It's been awesome. If there's anything you want to see made next time, let me know. I'd love to show you guys. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a good Thursday, and I'll probably see you again tomorrow night. I'm trying to stay more active on here, so let me know if there's anything you want made. Thanks, guys.